Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Good job for being here, and congratulations to Laura Ira over on the YouTube for first comment of the day. Glad to have you here. Let's see here. We've got a wonderful show. We're going to get started in just about a minute. Excuse me a second. Got a frog in my throat today, but I'm going to have this handy dandy mute button close. Just so I can spare you all the noises. Yes, what day is it? It's Wednesday. We're going to get going here. And as usual, if you were here last episode, especially live, you know that we're on a list. We're on a list. They seem to be ready to cut the YouTube stream at any moment. So if you're out there and you're watching live and you want to make sure to be able to make it through the whole show, consider getting one of our alternate streaming locations ready on your computer. Open another tab or something. You can go to CanaryCry.Party. CanaryCry.Party to see all the different places that we stream. That includes Twitch, DLive, Odyssey, Rumble. We're all over the place. So go do that. Okay, everybody. Oh, also, there's plenty of space for producers today. So if you've been considering producing the show, why don't you try it out today? Okay, folks, here we go. Stay hydrated. Buckle your seatbelts. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is November 3rd, 2021. This is episode 406. And today, One World Ritual. And razzle dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And you are in a new VR headset there, Mr. Basil Rosewater.
I did it. We're up and running. We got the new headset going here. It's wonderful, significantly more comfortable for those out there wondering. I got the Valve Index, so generously provided by producers. And overall, Gonz, a pretty good experience, with the exception of, just when you get a new phone. And not just an upgraded version of your current phone, not going from iPhone 8 to iPhone X or whatever, but like it kind of feels like going from an iPhone to a different brand of phone, like an Android.
I thought you were going to say a spaceship or something.
No, not quite that
iPhone
bad.
to the ISS.
No, not quite that bad. Well, it feels more like having gone from like a Windows phone. Remember the old Windows phones? Or like an Android, and then upgrading to an iPhone.
Okay.
And you just like have a hard time controlling it and figuring things out. Not that it's the Valve Index, in my experience so far, is a significantly improved piece of hardware and software, but it's just so different from what I'm used to. I'm still kind of scared of getting lost in the metaverse here. Controls are entirely different, just the whole setup is different. But I spent some time now trying to get used to it, setting up my windows in my little virtual office here. I think we're going to be okay. But if there may be a moment or two during the show where I just get completely lost in trying to figure out what I'm doing over here.
You'll be waving your hands and doing all kinds of fun movements, and we won't know what's happening in your little universe.
Yeah, I'll try to let you know as much as I can. And you know how on my previous headset, occasionally there would just be ambient music that would be going on the entire time?
Yeah.
That was really maddening. On this one, there's no music, but there's just like an entire forest full of birds chirping in my ears constantly.
I think maybe somebody knew the purpose of the headset, and they're signaling to us that they know.
It's true. It's getting me in the Canary mood for sure, but I'm like, I'm surrounded. I'm in a bunch of trees right now, and the birds are just going bananas, and I can't figure out. They're louder than I'd like them to be, Gonzo. They're too loud for doing a podcast. So anywho, just keep in mind during this entire thing, I'm fighting off the invasion of the birds. I might piddle around, try to turn it off, but
birds aren't real. They're government spies, and these are direct evidence.
Doubly not real birds. They're virtual government drones.
You can't chase them off either, or like put a towel over them so they can't see. They think it's nighttime.
No, they're not a canary in your daughter's room.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's how my day's going.
Sweet.
Is it? What is it? It's 1:08, not 2:08, correctly?
In our time zone, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It is Wednesday, though.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And you know who else got an upgrade? You're not the only one, Basil, with your new VR headset.
Oh, no.
Our good friend Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's time for the Flippy update. If you're new to the show, Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Oh, and Canary Cry veterans will be so very familiar with the OG Flippy. That is Flippy from Miso Robotics, the original commercialized hamburger flipping robot that started the Robo Revolution. But today, we've got a big Flippy update, Gonz, a true Flippy update. This is coming from TechCrunch.com, and it says here, Flippy, the hamburger cooking robot, gets more capable. Ooh, more capable. Okay, let's see what they have to say. Following its recent pilot in the select White Castles, Miso Robotics today announced a new version of its hamburger cooking robotic arm, Flippy. The new version of the robot, simply named Flippy 2, is designed to further automate simple cooking tasks for fast food establishments.
Before you go on there, I thank you, Miso Robotics, for not destroying our algorithm.
Thank you.
Word search.
That is exactly what I was going to say. They could have. Flippy 2 is certainly not the most creative name that they could have or perhaps even should have chosen. But if they had changed the name of Flippy, that just would have totally ruined my day and our search engine optimization terms. So thank you, Flippy, for staying Flippy. And they continue here. As Miso notes in a release, primary staff feedback on the original version is that Flippy required too much human assistance.
That is hilarious.
And let me finish this sentence and we'll get into that. Human assistance on either side of its primary cooking tasks. That includes the initial handling of uncooked food stuff and putting the cooked food in the holding area. Basically, Flippy was replacing the need to constantly monitor and adjust the food while cooking, but not much in the lead up or follow through. Now, remember, Gonz, the whole thing about the robotic takeover, and we've heard it over and over and over, repeated by robo pushers, is that, oh, don't worry, Flippy won't take anybody's jobs. It's here to work with humans. Humans and Flippy work as a team to make things build back better. And they're coming out, they're just saying, hey, yeah, we got a lot of feedback. Nope, we're just going to entirely get rid of the human element altogether. As if we haven't been calling that shot from the beginning.
Yeah.
But they're just straight up out here like, yes, we thought that humans and Flippy could work together. Turns out humans would rather just let Flippy do all of it.
This is a plausible deniability on the side of Miso Robotics, because they couldn't just come out and make a robot that does everything. They needed the people to tell them, hey, look, there's too many human elements here. If we're going to have a robot, might as well go full robot. And Miso Robotics was like, well, glad you said that. We are ready to go by replacing all human need.
They played the strategy perfectly.
They did, yeah.
Don't worry, it won't take your job. You'll work with Flippy. And then they make the workers say, yeah, no, we'll just let the robot do the whole thing.
I remember the footage early at the very beginning when we started tracking Flippy, and they were like, don't worry, people will work with the robot. And literally the only thing the people were doing was like putting the patty on the Flippy so the Flippy can, it was pretty menial tasks to begin with.
You just put the fries in the basket and let Flippy take the basket.
And now he'll get his own basket of fries. Yeah. Maybe he'll cut it himself too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Now, let's continue with the article here.
Sure.
Per Miso CEO Mike Bell, like all technologies, Flippy 2 has evolved significantly from its predecessor, and we are extremely grateful. CEO Mike Bell is extremely grateful for the insights collected from White Castle to truly push its development forward in a real restaurant environment. Flippy 2 takes up less space in the kitchen and increases production exponentially with its new basket filling, emptying, and returning capabilities. Since Flippy's inception, our goal has always been to provide a customizable solution that can function harmoniously with any kitchen and without disruption. Miso says the more compact version of the robot is capable of increasing throughput by nearly a third over its predecessor. Wow. Flippy 2 is significantly faster, I guess.
A third doesn't seem like a lot, though.
33.33%, Gonz.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. While requiring significantly less human hand-holding. Don't hold Flippy's hand.
Yeah.
It's greasy and it's
burn you. It'll fry you.
It's too strong for you. The second Flippy arrives as restaurants are facing widespread employment shortages amid the pandemic.
So convenient.
Just coming right out and saying it. The pandemic created employment shortages, and we're allowing the robots to take your jobs.
Someone should go look for that first quarantine episode we did. I think we made this exact point where we were like, nobody's gonna work, and then this is the perfect opportunity for the robots to replace everything.
Called shots, man. Called shots.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Wow, these birds are still pretty loud, Gonzo.
Well, you figured that out. At least nobody else. This is like a glimpse into mental health issues. Nobody in the world can relate to your personal experience of having birds yelling at you.
And that's a great point. I can tell you all I want about the birds, but you can't truly understand the bird problem.
Unless we let you into your head, which is a whole other angle to this metaverse experience.
Speaking of which, if I start messing with settings, there's a chance that I will pipe these birds into the podcast on accident.
Okay.
So I'll try not to do that. But
I'll have the mute button ready to go here. Okay. Which leads us to some cyborg news here.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
And this is PCMag.com. And the headline here, cybernetic body enhancements are A-OK with most of us. Yeah. So, just really making it normal here.
A-OK, baby.
A-OK. It's the 666 hand symbol there. Mm-hmm. You used to have to sneak around to get a tattoo. Now, though, a new survey from Tidio, a customer service chatbot provider, shows that a majority of Americans are fine with cyborg-level body mods. Using Amazon Mechanical Turk and Reddit, Tidio surveyed 1,127 people with a split of 57% male and 42% female. It's the answer. And an average age of 37. Men and women agree in equal numbers that cybernetic modifications should be allowed as long as they are done by trained pros, or better yet, as health care. But when it comes to allowing anyone and everyone to get bodily upgrades, men are much more likely to think people should be able to do anything they want, 32%, than women, 23%. In fact, more women, 18%, think cybernetic enhancements should be illegal than men, only 8%, if they aren't done for medical reasons. 6% of the surveyed group want to ban them altogether.
Well, the women are smarter, apparently.
The breakdown in how people feel about current trends seems to correspond to how they feel about going part robot. For example, 65% of people with a tattoo or piercing say they'd be okay with letting their teenage child get a bionic eye. And 75% of those... hey, you know,
We
for
went
all
from
the people...
tattoos to bionic eyes?
Okay, so you know how in the last 2-3 decades, at least in America, the tattoo has become hyper normalized. It's almost more weird to see people without a tattoo sometimes.
Sure.
In certain settings. And, you know, there was that crowd saying like, hey, this is all just leading up to normalizing transhumanism and microchipping and all this kind of stuff. And people are like, you're crazy. That's not true.
Yeah.
But then according to this survey of, I don't know, at least 500 people, 65% of 1127. So yeah, like 600, 700 people who have tattoo, or I guess it's have tattoos. So I don't know if it's the actual number surveyed there, but 65%. Yeah.
So they're kind of making the slippery slope case.
They are.
Are these people who have tattoos answering the question about bionics?
I think so. It's 65% of people with a tattoo or piercing. And I think that's 65% of people with tattoo or piercing of the 1,127 people that were surveyed say they'd be okay with letting their teenage child get a bionic eye. More stats.
Whoa.
And, yeah, it's crazy. And 75% of those responding said they get a medical microchip if they could use it to monitor health and get faster diagnosis.
Oh, great.
75%.
Yeah, they're in luck.
Finally, 57% are ready to upload their consciousness into a machine or a new body.
Whoa, this poll went places, man.
The mainstream is catching up to the conversation we've been having for a decade, is all.
Totally. Wow.
Tidio also created a chart showing the percentage of people who want specific types of enhancements, while microchip monitors top the list, 39%. Cybernetic eye implants to record pics and video is up there too at 32%. The least popular enhancement is an LED-based or UV tattoo with night luminescence, a cybernetic tattoo that you can turn on and off or redesign instantly that hovers at 30%. And there's a little diagram here, the most desired cyber enhancements with the percentages of people who want them. We got the cybernetic eyes, 37%, a brain-computer interface, 30%, and enhanced bionic eyes, 25%, optic nerve interface, 32%, a charger with digestive system, 32%, 29%.
A charger with digestive system?
That would allow you to get or restore energy without eating or sleeping.
Wow, they really sent this.
Oh, they have it all ready to go. I'm telling you, the products are ready. I think the products are ready. They're really just doing some market research here. Microchip implants in the hand for opening doors or and contactless payments. Cybernetic tattoos, 30%. Nanoparticle tattoos, 26%. 39% microchips. 22% LED-based or UV tattoos. You know what's interesting is like the whole COVID vaccine conversation about like, oh, those people, crazy to think that there's a microchip in the vaccine, poo-pooing the idea. In the meantime, there's a whole generation and a certain population anyway, at least according to the survey, upwards of 30 to 40% or so that are like, yeah, microchips to, monitor my health. No problem. Ready to go.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Totally.
In general, people felt that some cybernetic enhancements have great real-world applications, even if those people don't personally want them. Microchip monitors, again, were on top at 44%, but the list includes prosthetic arms, 40%, bionic legs, 38%, and a brain...
Bionic legs!
There you go. We talked about
the kangaroo legs.
Kangaroo legs, yeah. And a brain-computer neural interface with download-upload capability, 32%. That's a very specific feature of the brain-computer neural interface. Download-upload capability. It's like, wouldn't that be kind of native to the whole idea of a neural interface? But anyway.
Yeah, as if we would have a neural interface that didn't have download.
Yeah. We're getting closer to a cybernetic future. Just ask the monkey who plays Pong with his brain, courtesy of Elon Musk. Seriously. Of course, these enhancements...
Seriously.
Yeah, that's written in the article, folks. Of course, these enhancements carry risks. The biggest perceived concerns are that you will be judged by Jesus Christ on his return. No, it doesn't say that. But it should, PC Mag. The biggest perceived concerns are that the tech is nowhere close to ready, and that it'll cost way too much. Okay.
Those are pretty benign concerns.
Yeah, that's stuff that can be solved by a money printer.
Money printer go boom.
Even more interesting questions are answered in the full here. So there's like more to it if you want to dig into the survey. But it's interesting. This is PC Mag. It's not some crazy blog. It looks like a pretty large scale, at least survey. Just interesting to get a feel for where culturally people are at, and in terms of cybernetic modifications and microchips and all that kind of stuff. And man, I remember the first time we interviewed Dr. Hugo de Garis and thinking like, wow, this all sounds crazy, but we must be a while out, right? We must be like 50 to 100 years out until they really are able to do this. But no, not really. Seems like a lot sooner. And the campaign to have a whole generation of people accepting of this type of thing is well underway. And we have more on that as we go through all the different stories here. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, well, just one last comment on that. I mean, whether or not the tech is actually here ready to go, which for the most part it's not, obviously.
I don't think it is at a large scale, because there are still ethical boundaries to all the stuff they're talking about. You can't just like jack a whole generation of people with microchips that survey their health.
But the point of the survey, the poll, is the impact, the real world impact of this poll is that money will flow. Money will flow to make it happen. Yep.
And if enough people are really into it and want it to happen, there, especially with the whole
these numbers will go straight to investors. These numbers will be repeated in investor meetings across the world to make these sorts of technologies
I think
happen.
What we saw with the Epstein, the underbelly of Epstein and his transhuman agenda and which all that
doesn't
weird
get
stuff
talked about too
doesn't
much.
get talked about enough. That's part of his whole deal. Imagine a whole generation of young people who are, the redistribution of wealth. They get rich off their crypto or whatever. They're like the new moguls of the 21st century. And they're just kind of like, without even realizing it, they're like mini Epsteins in terms of the transhuman agenda and like really looking for tangible solutions. And they're pouring the money. And this is the kind of survey that would be like, hey, 1/3 of the people want it. Let's do it. That's enough for me. We need to grow that number. So anyway, not biblically prophetic whatsoever, right? This is just all coincidence.
Well, speaking of which, speaking of the transhuman agenda moving forward, let's check in with CRISPR.
You can't take the
CRISPR.
You can't take the
Cas9.
CRISPR has been all wrapped up in the transhumanist conversation, as you know, if you're longtime listeners. It's not just about bionics and robotics and computer chips and things like that, but editing the very ingredients of which we are made up. This is coming from fiercebiotech.com, and the headline reads, Moderna finally cracks into gene editing with Metagenomi pact, thanks to irresistible data.
I know. It's really powerful word choice. Irresistible data.
If that's not the most
not accurate data.
Yeah,
irresistible data.
It's irresistible. This data. It's delectable.
Factual. Anyway.
I really shouldn't, but I'll just take a nibble of this irresistible data. It reads like this. We finally know who Moderna has been courting behind the scenes. Not a great way to start a conversation about Moderna. Oh, Moderna, the thing that has shots in like 1 billion people's arms. Ooh, secretly courting behind the scenes.
Oh, and the company that had no product for 10 years, but was worth billions until a magical pandemic came about so that they suddenly have a product to sell to the government.
They put in their application for the vaccine to be approved 7 days after the public emergency was called.
Yeah.
Something like that. We finally know who Moderna has been courting behind the scenes to make the big jump into gene editing. The famed Biotech has signed a research partnership with Crispr gene editing company Metagenomi. Both parties are keeping mum on a lot of the details. We don't know what indications they'll go after, how many targets they will develop, how much Moderna will put up for research funding, how much was paid up front, what the milestone or royalty payments will end up being down the line, or how much of an equity investment Moderna made through the transaction. They're just listing things we don't know, which I suppose is fun. We do know that the partnership will involve in vivo treatment options for serious genetic diseases. Metagenomi will offer up access to its gene editing tools, while Moderna will bring the expertise in mRNA and lipid nanoparticle delivery technologies. Woo! Moderna CEO Stefan Bancel made waves in August when he told investors during second quarter earnings that the company planned to finally spend some of its billions in COVID-19 vaccine revenue on a gene editing deal of some kind. President Stefan Hoge further clarified that Moderna is interested in improving delivery mechanisms and gene editing with its mRNA technology. So how did Metagenomi rise to the top of the field of available gene editing companies? Turns out the small biotech had an in with Aaron Huang, PhD, the general manager and chief scientific officer of Moderna Genomics. He serves on Metagenomi's science advisory board. Quote, "When they presented the data to me, I just found it irresistible," Huang said. And then once Moderna decided to invest in genomic medicine in general, I brought this opportunity to Stefan. He jokingly said, Gonz, it's a joke, okay? Take it easy. He jokingly said there was no bias in the selection. That, of course, Moderna conducted thorough due diligence. He admits he'll likely need to resign the SAB position now that the companies are tied up. Huang said the two companies have complementary cultures and a desire to dream big, too big, but to do good science.
Weird. But to do good science?
Yeah.
But do good science? It's like, we want to be huge. Good science, too. But also...
How big is too big?
What are you talking about? Like a beast? A giant beast that comes out of the sea?
Sort of like a one world government thing. Like you want to completely alter the very fundamental building blocks of all humanity. Yeah. But do good science. Huang would not disclose financial details either, but called the partnership very significant in terms of cash and research funding, as well as the equity investment. No kidding. Quote, "We would love to be a part of their success," Huang said of Metagenomi. "We're going to be tied at the hip for a while." Metagenomi's discovery platform finds DNA from natural samples that can be sequenced to create new tools for gene editing. Drug candidates are then identified using AI. The small biotech is backed by Bayer. Great. Bayer, the company that purchased Monsanto, which signed on to an initial $65 million funding round at the end of 2020. So now you have CRISPR, Metagenomi, Moderna,
yeah.
Bayer,
Bayer.
and by extension, Monsanto.
All
all wrapped up, tied at the hip.
We're going to be hanging out for a while, fellas.
In the words of the CEO of Huang, or whatever his position is, they are all tied at the hip. This is
tied at the hip.
Nightmare. The round was pushed up to $75 million in April with an addition of new investment from VC shop RA Capital. Metagenomi CEO Brian Thomas called the Moderna partnership a natural one and said his company that is not a good thing to say. If your natural partnership, I mean, I guess they're already partnered with Bayer and Monsanto, so sure, Moderna's fine also. Natural One, and said his company has benefited from Huang's input over the past 3 years. Quote, as we started to grow closer in our discussions about the broad toolbox that Metagenomi is building, it became really clear that the two companies' mission were starting to align. I'm sure. This is Metagenomi's first partnership too, although Thomas said others have been interested, but the biotech was waiting to find a partner that could bring a battery delivery mechanism to the deal. And it kind of goes on and on. But I think we kind of get the main points here.
And if we're talking about the big pharma, the arm of the metaverse that will give you the hardware to track your biometrics and your health and all that. Why not? Why not Moderna? Why not Metagenomi? You know, they had their, especially Moderna had their, coming out party here in the last year and a half with the pandemic, and now the metaverse, Metagenomi. I don't think should be overlooked. Concerning the genetic side of things, and I don't know that I don't like the way this article talks about the data, looking at the data. It's kind of revealing how they feel about people. It's not really like true lives that matter. It's more like, oh, the data. We can't deny the data. We must make this deal.
Well, listen to this. There's a quote from Huang here. I hope in 5 to 10 years' time, when people are thinking about in vivo gene editing, they think of Moderna and Metagenomi together. Oh, so in 5 years' time, they're thinking that in vivo gene editing is just going to be a commercially retail available product for people to purchase.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
What is in vivo? In vitro is in a test tube, right?
I think
in vivo is in the body.
Yeah, I think we've covered this. Taking place within a living organism.
Yeah, right. Goodness gracious.
Yep.
So, there you go. We're making steps, folks. We got Monsanto and Moderna finally have a beautiful connection and a love for gene editing.
It is interesting. It's almost like a passing of the torch to the next generation of corporations or whatever.
It is,
like
isn't it? It's kind of like the new world order.
Yeah, the new medical establishment generation. They're like, Moderna, Metagenomi, these young whippersnappers, at the cutting edge of science. They will carry the torch of Lucifer.
Right. With the oversight and mentorship of such grandfathers like
Monsanto's gently guiding hand will cover us from any woes.
It's a mentorship. It's an apprentice situation.
Yeah. All right. Well, this leads us right into today's COVID section here.
COVID-19, 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 coronavirus, vaccine, number one way.
Number one way is to read from theguardian.com. This headline here, Jacinta Ardern. Am I saying that right? Jacinta?
There would be no way of knowing.
Okay. Ends press conference after being heckled over COVID vaccines. Video.
Hecklers?
Have you seen this?
That's not very New Zealandy of them.
Let's see what... I didn't clip
And what
it
I'd say
earlier.
is that we're all actually completely on the same page when it comes to driving vaccinations and making sure that we're doing everything that we can to reach people that we need to. This is an issue of
in Israel.
This is an issue.
Not working in Israel.
Sir, I'm going to ask.
Has a 39% efficacy.
I'm going to answer the questions
Still pushing it.
of the accredited media.
Also in the UK.
Sir,
So the heckler's talking about Israel, the percentage of the efficacy rate, which is what, like 39% or something.
The Israeli data, they're on their like 4th and 5th booster, and it just doesn't seem to be working very well.
Yep,
what he's bringing up,
and she's
which
fighting it
Fauci
off.
himself said, ignore the Israeli data. Not important.
Yeah. And, they're just part of a whole larger genetic experiment. This is the way we used to do things in the early 1900s. Don't worry about that. We'll just have Yuval Harari go on 60 Minutes and explain that they're just trying to help them, surveil their health data.
In the UK,
Sir, I will shut down the press conference if you do not cease.
Why?
Sorry, to our accredited members of the gallery here, we might move to an inside venue. Unfortunately, we've got someone who's disrupting your press conference today, so we might reconvene. Thank you.
Listen to that. Think of that. We're going to cancel a press conference because someone is asking questions. Oh, no. This man obviously does not know how the media works in New Zealand.
Well, she also says your press conference, kind of interesting.
Accredited media.
Can we use the facility here?
Hot mic.
Do you know whether or not it's open? Sorry, everyone. We might just try and flop it, go inside, and then hold it there, just so that we can have it in a bit more quiet space for you. And if you want to listen to your order and you feel like you need to re-record, we can do that inside as well.
counterspinmedia.com.
I'm going to go to the bathroom and then.
Yeah, so it's just down here for the bathroom.
She's going to the bathroom.
Just going to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah. She got to reveal her. She got to communicate to the lizard overlords.
I wish we had a hot mic in the bathroom and she's like on the phone, like, yes, master. I had cancelled the media.
Had to call an audible. There was a disruptor.
Yes, has a.
I feel like there's a developing theme here with a couple other stories we have later on in like the politics section, but it does seem like there's and this isn't new. It kind of started with Trump, but more so of a press, public media, journalism type people and the governments and institutions, and how there's going to be more of a rift, even more obvious. But I don't know. Anything else to say about this, Basil?
No, I think it speaks for itself.
Okay. You want to do this one, or this is the fact check here?
Let's see here. Oh, is this the DARPA one? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So this is interesting. Let me get my other controller here
Some
going.
People might get triggered.
Yeah, so this is just a little update on the whole Dr. Carrie thing. And, some people, everybody's got their own thoughts about Dr. Carrie, and we've certainly made our thoughts known. But this is interesting, and I think it warrants some response from us as well. So this is from leadstories.com, and it goes like this. Fact check. COVID vaccines do not contain hydrogel nanobots capable of reproducing and of implanting false memories. Whoa, okay.
Cherry picking a little bit on some of
very
the claims,
specific.
I guess,
It's just like so conveniently specific.
Yeah.
All right, so it goes like this. Do COVID-19 vaccines approved in the United States contain hydrogel nanobots that multiply, rewrite human genetics, and erase and plant memories in the human brain? Oh, there's a lot in there. Well, their answer is no.
Well, sorry.
No, we'll get there. I mean, it's obvious what's going on here. So their answer is no. That's not true, nor even possible in 2021.
Unless we already delete your memories.
No private or academic lab has laid claim to the ability to make a robot that could pass through a COVID vaccine hypodermic needle carrying the kind of technology this video describes. So again, it's the devil is in the details in this thing.
As
They're
always.
Specifically talking about nanobots that multiply, rewrite human genetics, and erase and plant memories in human brains. So technically, by their own admission, there could be nanobots that multiply, rewrite human genetics, but maybe don't erase and plant memories in human brain. Or perhaps hydrogel nanobots that don't multiply, but still rewrite human genetics and erase and plant human. Anyways, so that's their little trick, is
providing
getting everything
another
so
narrative,
specific.
Specific narrative to tear down to make it appear as if the whole concept of these technologies existing is discredited, but that is not the case. Yeah.
Plus, hydrogel is not the name for a unique material. Here's the big stuff, Gonz. Plus, hydrogel is not the name for a unique material. It's the term for a set of properties regardless of chemical composition. A spokesman for the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA. We have a debunking of Dr. Carrie from DARPA. Which this video accuses of unleashing hydrogel nanobots, told lead stories that the DARPA-funded hydrogel research has helped create only sensors, and that they are passive and too big to qualify as nanotechnology, which is commonly defined as 100 millionth of a millimeter or smaller, basically the size of atoms and molecules. That's actually not entirely true. That's actually a bit of a lie on their part.
Well, I was just kind of reacting to the idea that they make it sound like, oh, it's too big to be nanotechnology, completely ignoring answering the question whether or not it actually exists or not. It's
it's
like, oh no, it's not nanotech.
Well, again,
like,
the suspicious
so does it exist
the
or not,
suspicious specificity is what it is. Suspicious specificity, because again, they're technically saying like, we have hydrogel that can rewrite your memories and change your genetic codes, but it's bigger than 100 millionth of a millimeter. I mean, that's just ridiculous that they would say it's so small. The claims were made in an October 26, 2021 Facebook video published under the title "A Gateway to Transhumanism" by Dr. Carrie Madej. Forgot, how do we say that?
I think Madej is what I've heard. I don't know. There's been a few ways to pronounce
Now,
it.
this wasn't regarding the video that we responded to on this show.
I think similar material, but she's doing a presentation. Looks like.
Yeah, she's presenting on some stage here. Anywho, it opens like this. This is a quote. "I'm going to be talking about some ugly things that are happening in our world. It is my belief that these injections, they falsely call vaccines, are the gateway to transhumanism." Well, I think in that degree, we agree with Dr. Carrie here. Yeah. This is what the post looked like on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. They just kind of put a little video there. The video, 43 minutes. What?
It's a screenshot of the video. And not a very good one. It's not even centered. I don't know what's going on over their lead stories, but apparently DARPA has their attention.
Sure. Okay. The video, 43 minutes long, contains numerous claims by Dr. Carrie Madej, a Georgia licensed doctor of osteopathy, who says she has seen a nanotechnology-based self-aware organism self-assembling in samples of Moderna and Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccines. The fact check will focus on the main claims that she makes in support of her claims that hydrogel is being used to create transhumans that will be controlled through injected technology. Okay,
so they're not going to try to debunk the claim there.
I know. They keep changing
inside the vaccine.
They keep changing their goal.
Yeah, well, that's kind of weird. Why even mention it if it's not something you're going to debunk?
Well, listen up, Gonz, because DARPA's chief spokesman, Jared Adams.
That doesn't sound like a real name.
This is his given name.
Stage name, yeah.
Yeah. Said the agency's support for Profusa's hydrogel research project has created nothing of the sort. In a November 2nd, 2021 email to lead stories. Okay, so Jared Adams emailed lead stories about DARPA, the most highly guarded black budget United States secretive laboratories. I just sent a little email to lead stories. These claims are patently ridiculous and would be humorous if no one paid them any attention. The Profusa hydrogel is inert, does not have any electrical components, and is of similar material to a contact lens or corneal implant. For these reasons, there is no such thing as a biochip, nor does it have self-assembling nanobots with artificial intelligence capabilities. Again, very specific. He doesn't say that there's no nanobots. He doesn't say there's no artificial intelligence. He says there's no nanobots with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I just clicked into that Profusa's hydrogel research project link. It's a PR Newswire article published August 8th, 2019. Interesting time period for this to be published.
Oh, that is.
And the headline is Profusa and partners receive DARPA award to speed detection of disease outbreaks. Outbreaks. Interesting. August 2019. Profusa, and I'll just read the first sentence, or I guess it is it's a pretty big sentence, but Profusa, an empowered health company that is pioneering the next generation of personalized medicine, today announced in collaboration with RTI International and Duke University the award of a DARPA award. The award of a DARPA award to develop an early identification system to detect disease outbreaks, biological attacks, and pandemics up to 3 weeks earlier than current methods. That's so there you go. I mean, that's pretty to an inquiring mind, looking at the date of the release of this information and what's been going on, little suspicious.
I mean, the timeline is just notable for sure.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of continues to just do the same thing for a while. I'll continue just a little bit, but it's all just like, well, DARPA said, well, DARPA said, well, DARPA said, well, DARPA said. It's like, okay. I mean, nobody who even considers listening to Dr. Carrie is going to take DARPA at their word for anything. Funded by DARPA since 2011, biosensor maker Profusa set out to create an implantable sensor to give doctors, nurses, and patients a way to see real-time data on changes in body chemistry in response to illness, injury, or routine daily activity, Adams said. Profusa gained National Institutes of Health funding to develop hydrogel sensors. That's interesting. The NIH was involved as well.
Yeah.
Funding to develop hydrogel sensors implanted just beneath the skin that can stand up to the foreign body response that plagues implanted devices. An external device is necessary to read the blood chemistry sensed by the object. Adams said the DARPA-backed device has no way of interacting with the human genetic code. So now he's responding to something entirely different. So remember in the intro paragraph, they said, hydrogel is not a unique object. It is just sort of a characteristic
of a product
of something.
we were working on or something.
No, they didn't even say that. The intro was, hydrogel is not a product, was what they were saying. Okay. It is not a unique object. It's just sort of like a set of characteristics that an object can have. But now they're saying, no, hydrogel is a literal product from Profusa. It's not nanobots like Carrie says. It is a product funded by DARPA. And we actually reported on this before. This is when it was shortly after the vaccine came out, and DARPA, it was reported that DARPA had a sensor that they could put in you to sense COVID-19. And this was like, during all the mark of the beast conversations where people was like, the vaccine's the mark of the beast. And some people were like, no, it's not the mark of the beast. DARPA just came out and was like, yeah, well, we have this chip that we can implant in you and it will see if you have COVID. We're like, okay, so this is the mark of the beast? Like DARPA's just jumping into the ring here. So anyways, this fact check already is contradicting itself. First saying hydrogel is not a unique product, not a unique object. It's just a characteristic of an object. And now they're saying, yes, hydrogel is a very specific product that is used for sensing diseases in the body, and it's by Profusa. So let's see. Let's keep going. Madej claims that DARPA scientists are on a quest to create transhumans rest on a series of false claims. I don't even think we need to go entirely into it. They start quoting Dr. Carrie more and more. But the core of it is, I don't know what definition of transhumanism they are trying to debunk here, because putting this even on DARPA's most like their most friendly description of this Profusa product, the hydrogel, putting a chip under your skin is by definition some form of transhumanism. It doesn't have to be editing your DNA. It doesn't have to be, putting nanobots in there, erasing memories. The very act of putting a microchip under your skin is a form of transhumanism. And they never concede that in this article. They're just being like, yeah, merging man and machine, become a cyborg. That's not transhumanism. That's just what we do here at DARPA.
Well, yes, that's one of the things that I thought was interesting, because it seems like the whole debunking and the whole perspective from DARPA stems from the sentiment that Dr. Carrie presents, which is, some ugly things that are happening in our world. That's what she said. This is what she starts off with, right?
Yeah.
Some ugly things going on or happening in the world. And if you are on the side of DARPA and they are presented with these capabilities to truly, in like a tangible way, help, in the world of health, I could see how they would hear Dr. Carrie and be like, that is an insult to our mission to use this stuff, responsibly. And even though they're actually kind of doing, what I mean? They're doing it, but from their perspective, they probably, I guess that's just kind of the Stockholm syndrome type of thinking that can take hold if you're within, because
maybe. I don't think that they believe that, though.
You don't think that they...
I know what you're saying. I think DARPA doesn't.
You think they just they know, they're like, yes, we are the villains in this simulation here, and they're just we're the bad guys.
Oh, you mean like intent? Yeah, no, I think okay. I may have misunderstood there. Yeah, they think they're saving the world with improving humanity,
right?
But I think when they're saying, they're trying to nitpick at the definition of transhumanism.
Yeah.
Sort of secretly here. I think they're doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
They're trying to say, oh no, don't worry, putting computer chips under your skin, that's not transhumanism. That's what a conspiracy theorist would say. Right. No, I mean, it's literally the definition of transhumanism, but okay.
Yeah, but this is all, you're saying this is all part of a ploy to control certain words. It's the race to control, to trademark, whatever the phrase, and honestly, the linguistic programming.
Honestly, it's so suspicious that DARPA is having personal emails back and forth with leadstories.com.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that straight up proves that leadstories.com is just a CIA propaganda outlet.
Yeah. Dean Miller.
It's interesting.
The author Dean Miller getting notes from, who was it? Steve Adams? What was it? Jared Adams.
Jared Adams. Leadstories.com is an interesting place. Up on their sort of menu up at the top, the tabs, they have blue feed and red feed with a little Democrat donkey and a Republican elephant. Like, oh, no matter who you are, they have a perfect little information bubble you can hang out at.
Clearly showing that, hey, we control the right-left paradigm.
Yes, exactly. This is what we do. That is a great point. Yeah, Lead Stories getting exclusives from DARPA. Again, the most secretive black budget agency in the world, basically. But don't worry. They have stories for Democrats and Republicans. They can control both sides of the narrative.
Yeah, they're part of the IFCN, the International Fact Checking Network.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
we know
good.
they're not lying, ever.
Yeah. So anyways, I know a lot of people got triggered when Gonz and I aren't buying all the Dr. Carrie stuff. So we wanted to throw her a bone here, of course. Hey, we also believe in questioning the narrative and using our own eyes to observe things, and she did that. I'm not necessarily taking what she's saying as gospel, but the response from DARPA does make it pretty suspicious.
Does warrant a little bit of a little flag, raise a flag on it. Like, hey,
we're just being fair, man. We're just calling them how we see them.
Here's the thing. As we go through time, our perspectives and our positions will, as events occur, as people say things and it becomes viral and people know about it, it's going to cause a lot of political divisions and turmoil and with the ethical, I guess implications of all of this. It's going to be very strange when we have 5-6 billion people talking about the actual technology and some people fully stepping into this world here of
and it'll be sooner rather than later. Sigger the Beast brings up a good point. There's the blue feed, the red feed, and then they have a special tab for coronavirus news. And it's blue, red, and the coronavirus tab is purple. So
loyalty,
if you're a centrist or a moderate or, in between blue and red, you're a virus.
And all the ladies during the inauguration wearing purple. Remember the
that's certainly its own separate issue. Yeah. Purple has a lot of things going on. All right, what do you got next?
Okay, so this was published on hold on, let me see here. Did I have this out of order? I think I might have had this out of order. This is the BMJ.com. That's the British Medical Journal. And the story here, or I guess it's an article, COVID-19 researcher blows the whistle on data integrity issues in Pfizer's vaccine trial. Okay, so, something to point out is we just got off the DARPA Dr. Carrie story where it's all the crazy stuff. It's all the bleeding edge of what's possible with the technology and does it exist, does it not, is it being used or whatever. And then on the other front, there are legit normal world concerns with the whole vaccine and the origins and everything. And it's interesting that this is coming out now. This was published November 2nd, 2021. And it says, in autumn 2020, Pfizer's chairman and chief executive, Albert Bourla, released an open letter to the billions of people around the world who were investing their hopes in a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine to end the pandemic. Quote, "As I've said before, we are operating at the speed of science," Barlow wrote, explaining to the public when they could expect a Pfizer vaccine to be authorized in the U.S. But for researchers who were testing Pfizer's vaccines at several sites in Texas during that autumn, speed may have come at the cost of data integrity and patient safety. A regional director who was employed at the research organization Ventavia Research Group has told the BMJ that the company falsified data, unblinded patients, meaning unblinded them in the test, employed inadequately trained vaccinators, and was slow to follow up on adverse events reported in Pfizer's pivotal phase 3 trial. That's kind of, I don't know. That seems pretty serious. It doesn't surprise anybody, but it's serious enough to be okay, maybe not put this in a bunch of people. Staff who conducted quality control checks were overwhelmed by the volume of problems they were finding. After repeatedly notifying Ventavia of these problems, the regional director, Brooke Jackson, emailed a complaint to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA. Ventavia fired her later the same day. Jackson had provided the BMJ with dozens of internal company documents, photos, audio recordings, and emails. Interesting.
Oh, real whistleblower style.
Yeah. And Okay, I got some stuff highlighted here. Poor laboratory management exacerbated that Ventavia was not dealing with the problems. Jackson documented several matters late one night. This is when the, getting all the info there. Taking photos on her mobile phone. One photo provided to the BMJ showed needles discarded in a plastic biohazard bag instead of Sharp's container box. Another showed vaccine packaging materials with trial participants' identification numbers written on them left out in the open, potentially unblinding participants. Ventavia executives later questioned Jackson for taking the photos. So, I don't know. You know how that's kind of a spook move, where they're able to go in there and collect all the information. This seems more like just a person that kind of knows what's going on and has collected the evidence under certain circumstances, because they felt there was a legal precedent being set here. Because it wasn't like a whistleblower that came out and then we found out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It seems like something a little bit more natural, but it could be all part of a setup too. Why are we finding out about it now?
And Numati in the chat is saying the FDA has already rebuffed within hours this bad news about Pfizer. FDA has full confidence in the Pfizer data and their approval of the jab. So it's getting attention for sure, so much so that the FDA has already put out a statement about it, apparently.
Yeah. So there was another part here where it was Ventavia ran into some issues with ICON, which is, what does it stand for here? Sorry, I didn't have all the proper prep here, but let's see, ICON. Why can't I find the acronym? Do you want to look for that real quick? And I'll read this thing here.
I can certainly try my best. The ICON for what? What is it regarding?
Ventavia was not keeping up with the data entry queries, shows an email sent by ICON, the contract research organization with which Pfizer partnered on the trial. This is during the trial of the Pfizer vaccine. ICON reminded Ventavia in a September 2020 email, quote, "The expectation for this study is that all queries are addressed within 24 hours. ICON then highlighted over 100 outstanding queries older than 3 days in yellow. Examples included 2 individuals for which, quote, subject had reported with severe symptoms/reactions. Per protocol, subjects experiencing grade 3 local reactions should be contacted. Please confirm if an unplanned contact was made and update the corresponding form as appropriate," end quote. According to the trial protocol, a telephone contact should have occurred, quote, "to ascertain further details and determine whether a site visit is clinically indicated." That got really confusing at the end. But yeah, basically.
So ICON is just a company that sort of handles the logistics of these studies.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're like a third party. If a company wants to run a trial, instead of like building the entire trial in-house, the ICON comes in, and they kind of organize the study, execute the study. So ICON would sort of be the one who would be responsible for some of these, at least some of the info that the whistleblower is putting out, poorly handled samples, the failing of true double blinding, all that stuff sounds like that's what ICON exists for, is to manage those things.
Right. It's just interesting how there's also a paper trail there, not just of some whistleblower, but like a whole company doing like, hey, you guys aren't doing stuff right. And,
totally.
So what's the deal?
Well, it's also a liability thing,
Yeah.
And it's a layer of protection for a pharmaceutical company to outsource the studies to ICON. So if ICON messes up a study, the pharmaceutical company is kind of protected.
Is Pfizer like purely American? Like their HQ?
I believe so. I think
because part of the whole thing with BioNTech in Germany, right?
Yeah.
That, I wonder if that brings up legal. I'm sure somebody has looked at it. Protections or loopholes you can create to I don't know.
Definitely expands the possibilities of the legal
just making it not work in the traditional legal setup, so that we need a new world order. We need new laws, global laws. Foreshadowing a future story.
Yeah. So it looks like Icon was founded in 1990 in Dublin, Ireland. Ooh.
Yeah. Those Irish are, very sharp. You got to
sharp folks.
Give them credit, because they were trying to call out Pfizer here, and Pfizer was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know."
Let me, keep going. I'm curious. What's
worries over FDA inspection? Documents show the problems had been going on for weeks. In a list of action items circulated among Ventavia leaders in early August 2020, shortly after the trial began and before Jackson's hiring, a Ventavia executive identified 3 site staff members with whom to, quote, go over e-diary issue, falsifying data, etc. One of them was, quote, verbally counseled for changing data and not noting late entry, a note indicates. Finding some people some scapegoats. At several points during the late September meeting, Jackson and the Ventavia executives discussed the possibility of the FDA showing up for an inspection. Quote, we're going to get some kind of letter of information at least when the FDA gets here. Know it, an executive stated. And there's a little history of lax oversight here. It's pretty long. Do you want me to go through the whole thing here? Or you want to? No,
long story short, there's a history of lax oversight over Ventavia.
Yep. And a history between Ventavia and the FDA. This is not their first party here. The next morning, 25th September 2020, Jackson called the FDA to warn about unsound practices in Pfizer's clinical trial at Ventavia. She then reported her concerns in an email to the agency. In the afternoon, Ventavia fired Jackson, deemed, quote, not a good fit, according to her separation letter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's suspicious.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think maybe
weird.
Maybe this is just somebody that got through the system, and then all of a sudden she was like, wait a minute here. What's going on? And they're like, you are not a good fit. Fired.
This goes into the conversation that we had before with that Project Veritas leak. I think that guy was a Pfizer guy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about...
Did anything happen to those guys?
I have not seen any update on that. I'm sure Veritas could share that with us.
Oh yeah, maybe they just flee over to the Veritas umbrella. They're like,
we had this whole conversation about, hey, this guy knows he's in a big evil pharmaceutical empire, and he's saying it plainly on a Tinder date or whatever. and we had the conversation. Well, why doesn't he just leave? Yeah, why doesn't he tell somebody? Why doesn't he? Well, this is why. Because this Jackson person, they called the FDA to warn about unsound practices in Pfizer's clinical trial, which is something that I'm sure Jackson felt legally obligated to do. If your company is breaking the law, or at least, not following best practices, reporting that to a regulatory organization is the right thing to do, and immediately got fired for it. Which again, if that got brought up in court, that's not going to stand for a legit termination of this person's job. Anywho, that's why nobody else does this, is because this Jackson person did it and immediately got fired for simply trying to report to the FDA how the clinical trials were being botched. But, FDA takes a lot of funding from the pharmaceutical companies. The whole FDA runs on basically sponsorship funding from, Pfizer being one of them. So it's not the system is set up to mess with Jackson and whistleblowers like this, or rather just to protect the pharmaceutical empire of Pfizer and others.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a profile to have to work in some of these organizations, even at like a lower level. Mm-hmm. They have to do some kind of profiling, right? There's no way that like we couldn't just like get a job there. Just we're infiltrating, and then we publicly try to.
Yeah, there's several reasons why we could not get a job there, but one interesting thing that I think I saw Numati bring up was whistleblower protections. Mm-hmm. There's very specific whistleblowing stuff you have to do. Yeah. And I don't think reporting directly to the FDA was the correct way to do that to protect themselves, Jackson. Mm-hmm. I think you have to go like through Congress or something to whistleblow and get the protections, or at least through the FBI. I think you have to do it through like an official. Yeah.
Nice.
So reporting it direct, but they probably didn't think that this was a big deal at the time. I don't know. They probably didn't think it warranted making a report with the FBI.
When you're a big corporation like Pfizer, you don't have time for this drama happening in the background. You just let things happen. We got to get that jab out there. We need to make some money.
Uh-huh. So, anyways, it goes on and on. Were there any other
not really
parts of this you wanted to go into?
I think we kind of hit the main stuff here.
I mean, it does talk about other employees' accounts.
Yes.
And there's, I guess, several other employees who sort of had things to say about this. Yeah. 2 former Ventavia employees spoke to BMJ anonymously. Did you mention this is the British Medical Journal?
I did mention that, yeah.
Okay. Anonymously for fear of reprisal and loss of job prospects in the tightly knit research community. So yeah, not only losing your job at Ventavia, but being blackballed from the industry, basically. Yeah. Both confirmed broad aspects of Jackson's complaint. Okay. One said that she had worked on over 4 dozen clinical trials in her career, including many large trials, but had never experienced such a helter-skelter work environment as with Ventavia on Pfizer's trial. Quote, I've never had to do what they were asking me to do ever, she told the BMJ. Quote, it just seemed like something a little different than normal, the things that were allowed and expected. She added that during her time at Ventavia, the company expected a federal audit, but that this never came. Ooh, wow. Can you imagine that? You're working at a, by your perspective and the perspective of your company, this trial could hold the fate of the human race.
The future of man.
And you're
the
sitting there.
Either spreads and kills everybody, or we come up with a solution. Yes, it's heroic venture.
And you're sitting there expecting a federal audit any day now, and it just never comes. After Jackson left the company, problems persisted at Ventavia. This employee said in several cases, Ventavia lacked enough employees to swab all trial participants who reported COVID-like symptoms to test for infection. Laboratory confirmed symptomatic COVID-19 was the trial's primary endpoint, the employee noted. An FDA review memorandum released in August this year states that across the full trial, swabs were not taken from 477 people with suspected cases of symptomatic COVID-19. So they just didn't even collect the data all the time.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's sloppy. What do you expect? This is nothing new of anything that Pfizer touches, but it does reveal sort of the way it's allowed to happen. It's just sheer ignorance here.
Well, and I think it reveals something important to those questioning the mainstream narrative as well, which is, yes, sometimes there is sort of a plan being executed, a conspiracy perpetrated by a cabal, a perfectly planned and timed clockwork set of events to do something. And other times, it's simply just people being bad at what they're supposed to be good at, and not having any oversight or accountability because they're protected by overlapping incentives to just let this go through. I mean, everybody gets paid if this approval goes through based on this thing. Not only does Pfizer get paid, Ventavia get paid, everybody becomes billionaires, but also the FDA continues to get their funding from Pfizer as these approvals go through. So every party involved organizationally stands to benefit greatly by just simply going through the motions and rubber stamping this science, and you don't need the good science to even exist. That's what the media is for. The media is to shame anybody who questions the science because, hey, we're the FDA. What are you going to do?
This was published on the BMJ on November 2nd, 2021. Mm-hmm. And just before we go into break here, the day before, I will say that perhaps the marketing department there at Pfizer rolled out the human shield, more specifically the children's shield, because on November 1st, Pfizer tweeted this out: "Superheroes come in all sizes. Watch as real kids express thanks to their superheroes. The 5 to 11-year-old COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial volunteers. We are incredibly grateful to the trial participants and their families. Science will win. Hashtag." And
science will win?
Yes.
What does that even mean?
Hashtag science will win.
Science is not an entity. It's not a deity who can win something. Science is a process of observation and experimentation.
The process will win.
Yeah, okay.
Here's a few seconds of it. I don't know how much you want to bear, Basil, but you can tell me if you want me to. Yeah, if
when I'm about to gouge my ears out, I'll let you know.
Getting ready to fight COVID.
All of us want to be superheroes. And the most important heroes are those that help others. This year, thousands of kids like us around the world joined the COVID-19 vaccine trial.
Kid power.
And when they did, they became all superheroes.
Did you understand? Do you understand it so far?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. There was a nice little trick there to use "our superheroes" as the text there. And when they did, the children, when they took the vaccine in the trials, they became our superheroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
To all the kids who volunteered, we'd like to say,
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your superpowers of
Courage.
trying new things,
the ability to save people,
the power to help people,
Helping not just yourself, but many other kids.
to not be scared, be strong, super brave,
Bravery and courage.
a superhero shot, helping everybody, fight coronavirus and help others. You're helping the whole entire world. Thank you. You are all superheroes.
Thank you. Thank you, superheroes.
Oh my gosh.
You're
Okay.
awesome.
All right. Okay.
All right.
As much as I could.
Yeah, you got through most of it.
You know, this is really sickening, actually. This, because there's this theme. There's this theme of positioning different groups of people as heroes, and it's always problematic. Who is the heroes during the pandemic? It was the nurses. They were our heroes, keeping everybody alive. We clapped for them as they came home from work, and it was a whole thing. These heroes.
We liked their TikTok videos.
And yet, when the moment came and they didn't want to be forced to take an experimental vaccine, what did we do? Oh, you're fired. Yeah, you were a hero. You've been keeping people alive for, a year and a half now. But now that you're not responding to our coercion, you're fired. We don't care. Thanks for being a hero. Bye. We're done with you. And, this framing of groups as heroes. And this is actually a lot of criticism I've heard from the left as well, is don't let them call anybody heroes, because what they're doing is preparing to justify, deaths a lot of times. Because with the nurses, and I heard this from guys on the left, which is, no, don't buy into this whole thing. Nurses are heroes, not because they're not important and not, doing a great job, but because what it does is it mythologizes them. So when they die, they've died a hero, and you can actually celebrate their death versus, having some sort of accountability for it.
Yeah.
So it's actually really concerning along that
the thing that causes
to be putting these kids up as heroes, because if something happens to these kids, then these kids died being heroes. They died to save the rest of us. Like, no, let's just not kill the kids. How about that?
I would like that better, but
yeah, I think that's a better plan. But see, that's why I'm not, in charge of anything.
Sure.
Yeah. Where else was I going to go with that? I forget. But anywho,
I think you nailed the important point there. Yeah, the very thing that would cause the problem, the deaths, are being celebrated beforehand, not just as heroes, but superheroes. And, it's not that I disagree. I mean, obviously, you and I don't disagree with the actual things they're pointing out with courage and all this kind of stuff, but it's kind of like, it's interesting how they place the onus on the child. And I don't know. That's a lot to...
It's a lot to put on a kid.
Yeah, it's a lot to put on a kid in a commercial like this from Pfizer. Like,
it's very coercive and manipulative. Yeah. It's kind of like, look... You tell kids a lot of things. You tell them a lot of things. Hey, you'll grow big and strong if you eat your broccoli. Oh, your face will get stuck that way if you make that funny face at the neighbors. Stuff like that. But I think that's one of the sicker parts about it is people are so used to lying to children in order to manipulate their behavior.
Yeah.
Mainly because they're so gullible, these kids, man. They'll believe anything you tell them. Am I right, Gonz?
Yeah.
Anywho, so that's what Pfizer's doing. They're like, here's what we'll do. If the parents don't want to give the kids shots, we'll convince the kids that they can be like Iron Man or Batman and be a hero by getting the shot. Now you got kids begging to get the shot. And, throwing temper tantrums when their parents won't let them be a superhero.
Well, there's that psychological thing, too, to the masses where these children get the shot and now they're superheroes. If you're talking about transhumanism and, evolving and changing and moving into a genetically altered future.
Yeah.
Think about that as kids are like, we got the shot. We're superheroes.
That's certainly a wider picture you're casting there for sure.
Well, but they can develop their little superhuman ability people.
Yeah, sure. I'm backing you up. I'm just saying that's in a meta analysis.
Sorry, I'm stuck in the metaverse.
Apparently. That's definitely a wider way to look at it, and I agree with you.
All right, you ready for a break here?
I'm ready. Let's take a quick break. Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll be checking in with the New World Order, baby. What's Gaia got to do with anything? And, what are we going to do if we're serious about sustainability? Also, we'll be checking in with our politics section here. What do we got in politics? Oh, we'll mention some things about the Virginia gubernatorial thing, what the Democrats are thinking about Biden in 2024, and Gonz has a little rabbit hole to take us down when it comes to the space Pope reptilian. Perhaps even a little debunker bunker. We'll see what happens. But before that, we're going to take a second and thank some producers. That's right. You heard me correctly. I said producers, baby. If you're new to the show, you may have noticed no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no mail enhancement supplements or freedom phones for sale. Nope, that's right. We are on the value for value model, which is part of our journey to stay free of corporate money, which means staying away from any sort of corporate interests, which equals true independent media. You no money from YouTube, no YouTube ads. If you see ads on anything, they do not have our permission for that. So, what are you going to do?
No notes from DARPA either.
No DARPA, unfortunately, no DARPA funding.
Yeah.
Yeah. No DARPA funding, no nothing, no Twitch affiliate programs. Nope. We are entirely free of corporate money. And it's for the best, folks. It's for the best. And that's because we're on the value for value model, which is very simple. We create value. We do it 3 times a week, and we try our very darndest at it. And if you get any value out of what we do on this show, I mean, think about it. What is it? Education, entertainment, maybe it's saving you time reading the news, perhaps some quality analysis. What kind of value do you get from the show? Maybe it's just the community. Whatever the value is that you receive, just put a number on it and send it in. Become a producer of the show. And that's exactly what you are when a listener becomes a producer, is a producer. Because in the real world, if you pay for a piece of media to be produced, you are a producer. And as long as the producers keep producing, the show keeps on going, baby. And, I could go on and on about the advertising industry and how, yes, I get it. We've all been trained, literally programmed through our whole lives to just accept that media must be free, and yes, we might have to mute a commercial here or there, but I'm not going to pay anything to get my news. Well, look where that's got us. Not only has it got us in a situation where Facebook and Google and online companies gather our data specifically in order to sell your very identity, to monetize your thoughts, emotions, and just plain consciousness. But your news is paid for by the very enemies of your sanity. Whether it's pharmaceutical companies, one of the biggest advertisers in the world, or social media, or just brands that want to manipulate your psychology into spending money on things you don't need for reasons that don't exist. Whatever the case may be, please consider participating in the value for value model. And that's what we're going to do now, is thank those producers who decided that they want to take responsibility for their own media future, say no to the big advertisers and companies who wish to manipulate media for their own personal gain, and produce the show to keep it going. Gonz, are you ready?
Ready to go.
Okay, the first way to do that is you can head over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. And if you're a Patreon supporter and you want, if you signed up in the past, I would highly recommend you go check on that to see if it's still active. Because famously, Patreon will just cancel people's subscriptions to supporting the show. And over the past few months, we have had a very unusual free fall in Patreon support. And so if you're a Patreon supporter, please go check on that. And if you want, you can, if it looks like you got canceled and you didn't mean to cancel it, please go ahead and start it up again if you want to continue supporting the show, or go ahead and join up in one of the other monthly ways that hopefully won't cancel you. But anyways, I want to thank our new Patreon producer, and that is producer Carrie. Producer Carrie T. Now, Carrie T, yes, thank you very much, Carrie T. Carrie T sent us a message here, and I'm not sure if I have it pulled up. I might need to take a second. But Carrie T, will you call the producers for Carrie T, please?
Yeah.
Producers, assemble!
Okay, producers around the world. These are producers who are supporting the show with their prayers on a regular basis. And we got... Oh, no? That is not the same person.
Yeah,
okay.
I see the note.
You see what you're looking for.
Yeah,
I thought it was the same person. Huh. Okay, well, this, I guess we'll... I don't know what to do. Now we need to send this person a message first.
Yeah.
Okay. Anywho, well, producer, stay on call. Thank you very much, producer Carrie T.
Thank you,
now,
Carrie T.
that's all for the Patreon supporters. Like I said, the Patreon has been sort of in free fall lately. So
maybe people just don't like Patreon anymore.
That's definitely a part of it, but it's been unusual. And Patreon is sort of notorious for canceling people's.
They're canceling all their stuff, and they're buying crypto. They're opening Coinbase accounts according to the App Store analytics.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Send us some Shiba there, producers. But there you go. But a lot of people don't like Patreon, and that's okay. We totally support you. That's why you should head on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support is a great way to become a producer. If you head on over there, you'll see you can support the show with your cryptocurrency. If you're a cool crypto Chad, you can sign up through PayPal to become a monthly producer of the show if you want to commit to keep it going. And we are so thankful to our monthly producers for helping us to lay down a firm foundation for the show. Or if commitment is not your thing, you can go ahead and make a one-time producership in any amount. Gonz, who do we have coming in over there?
On the PayPal, we're going to start off with our executive producer for episode 405, and that's Veronica D.
Veronica D is our executive producer for episode 405.
Where'd you find this?
Yeah, thank you very much, Veronica. And Veronica's on a streak as well.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
She's been supporting the show for 44 episodes in a row. She's been sort of a sleeper cell, just consistently supporting the show for quite a while now, and just popped in with a very generous executive producership. Thank you so much, Veronica D.
Thank you,
and I did not receive a note or anything. She's just coming in, plain and simple.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Who's next?
All right, next up we have Aaron J.
Aaron J is also on a streak. 31 episodes in a row he's been supporting, and today he's our associate executive producer.
Yes, you bet. You are executive associate producer for this episode. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Enjoy it while it lasts, Aaron J. Aaron J comes in with 125, which means he's reached level 125 on Fortnite. Our Canary Cry esports athlete here. We have an opposite system. Instead of us sponsoring an esports athlete, we are sponsored by esports athletes. I love it. And Aaron J sends in a note here. Have you seen Dune 1984? I was listening to Fear episode of Canary Cry Radio. Canary Cry Radio, folks, if you're new to the show, you are currently listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Canary Cry Radio is our interview-style show we've been doing since 2012. And yes, I forgot. The Fear episode that we did. Let's see. I was listening to Fear episode of Canary Cry Radio and the story of Gonz. Oh my gosh. The story of Gonz and his boxers with his bone because, okay, we'll have to explain. Aaron J, come on.
Yeah, we will explain.
Gonz and his boxers with his bone because his birds made a noise just made me laugh so much. Yes, I forgot about this story, but it is a story you told on that episode where you heard a bump in the night and you got up out of bed and you're in your boxers and you grabbed a giant dog bone to use as a club to like defend your family, full caveman style.
Yeah, those things hurt. Especially when the ends are a little chewed off and they got little sharp edges. You can clock someone pretty good with it and they'll probably go down.
Yes. Well, you were ready to defend your family against intruders, but with a giant femur bone that your dog was chewing on.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, thank you, Aaron J. And yeah, thanks for plugging the Fear episode of Canary Cry Radio. I forget what number episode that was, but go check it out, folks.
What's the highest number a person can go or has been on Fortnite? Is there like a record?
Gonzo, you ask me this every time Aaron J produces.
I always forget.
I don't know. I don't think there is a limit.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not a Fortnite player. I know other games like Apex Legends, like it goes up to 500 or something. So yeah, it basically just goes forever. I don't know. Maybe Aaron J should tell us. Have I seen Dune 1984? Was that the original Dune?
I think so.
Movie? Yeah. I have not seen it. No.
I've seen it on television. Doesn't mean I watched it. You know what I mean? I remember it being on, but I wasn't really paying attention. But yes, I do remember that there was one. So I got to catch up on. I got to watch the new one. Apparently, it's good. Yes.
Oh, you do. It's great. It's great.
I'll try to figure that out.
Yeah, especially by today's standards of horrible movies. It was a good movie. All right. Thank you very much, Aaron J., our associate executive producer for the day.
Thank you, Aaron J. Next up, we have Brachelle.
Brachelle. That's Brian and Michelle. They come in and support the show, and they say, every episode is epic. We laugh out loud at you two and your sense of humors. Not senses of humor, sense of humors. A merry heart doth good like a medicine. So thanks for keeping us going during the craziness around us. Blessings, Brian and Michelle, or as Basil calls us, Brachelle. Yes, Brachelle. Thank you very much, Brachelle.
Thank you, Brachelle. Next up, we have 57 Chevy Girl.
That's right. 57 Chevy Girl just started a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Yeah, 2 episodes in a row. Thanks, Chevy Girl. Comes in with 1111 plus fees and a little note. Good morning and happy, wonderful Wednesday, Basil and Gonz. I appreciate all the work you put in for the shows. A huge and heartfelt thank you. God bless, 57 Chevy Girl. Thank you very much, 57 Chevy Girl.
All right, next up we have Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes.
Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes is on a streak. Comes in with 1111 and a note. It is the 3rd day of the 1st week of the 11th month of the year 2021, my dudes. That makes it 11/3, aka 33 day.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even.
Was
think
that
of
a thing? I don't know if I ever knew this was a thing.
Well, it might as well be.
It's a thing now. Cool. Okay, 33 day, folks. We should have run some sort of promotion. We'll catch it next year.
Yeah.
Thank you for the heads up, Sir Salmons. Keeps going. Keep a sharp eye out for those illuminated lizard master shills today, Canarians. Many blessings from the fishes. Well, thank you very much, Sir Salmons.
Thank you, Sir Salmons. Next up, we have Heather Russ.
Heather Russ is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Supporting the show 21 episodes in a row, which means they get the 21 gun salute. Yeehaw. Thank you very much, Heather Russ. 1111 comes in. Keep doing what you're doing. Can I get a Howard Dean scream? It brings me back to my Screamo days. LOL. Much love, Heather Russ. We got Howard Dean on deck?
Oh, not only do we have it on deck, I left a little Easter egg in the last little 21 gun salute. Did you not hear it?
No.
Oh, see,
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I played it in there, but I'll play it again.
Okay.
Screamo.
Oh, okay. I do. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Heather Russ.
He should. Is Howard Dean still out there? He should make a comeback.
I have no idea.
He would make it now. You know, he was just before his time. Anyway,
he could do a killer TikTok account.
No, he'd lose his voice doing that. All right. Next up here, where were we? Lost my spot here. Gail M.
Gail M's on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
That's right. 45 episodes in a row. Thank you, Gail. Comes in with 1013 and says, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Romans 10:13. It is well with my soul. God bless y'all. XXXX. Oh. Thank you very much, Gail.
Thank you, Gail. Next up, we have Scott K.
Scott K is on a streak. 68 episodes in a row comes in with the 1001 Amen producership.
1001 Amen.
Thank you very much, Scott K.
Thank you, Scott K. Next up, we have Laura C.
Laura C. Thank you very much, Laura C. I do not think Laura is on a streak, but she came in a little late, so let me just do a little double check. Boop. Oh, boy. I'm just getting a little bit better at navigating this thing here now. Okay, no streak there. Thank you very much, Laura C.
Thank you, Laura C. Next up, we have JC.
You skipped one, by the way.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
We had another 1001.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Sigur the Beast.
There he is. Sir Sigur the Beast to you, Gonz.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Sir Sigur is on a streak. Been coming in 3 episodes in a row, which means Sigur, he's heating up.
He's heating up.
And also came in with the 1001 producership.
1001 Amen.
Amen. Gonz, real quick, I'm going to insert somebody who just came in during the show.
Okay.
And if you could put this on the list for me, that'd be great.
Sure.
And that is producer Amanda R.
Amanda R.
She's back. Yes.
Is it the one, or is
I
it
think it's the one.
Okay.
I know. We had some confusion last time. Sorry about that. But Amanda R. is on a streak.
Okay.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule.
Things are a little confusing. I think she's been supporting the show for 2 episodes in a row. If we have that wrong, just let us know, Amanda. And Amanda came in with 1111 plus fees.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda.
I don't think I see a note. So, yep. Okay. All right. Who's next?
And we did Laura C. And Laura C., if you throw in another penny, you can get the 1001.
Oh, yeah.
There.
One more penny gets you the 1001.
Next up, JC.
JC is on a streak. 32 episodes in a row. So close, JC, to joining the ranks of the Illuminated Lizard Master Shills. Comes in with 831, which I believe is pocket full of 7s plus fees. And a note, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Why don't you give him it?
Do you want me to give him the...
Let's give him the jingle.
Okay.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Just to hear it again.
Yeah,
Just listen.
It clears your sinuses.
Wakes you up, man. Just listen to Friday's show and realize that my name got all scrambled when I left my podcast review. Mine was the one that took a shot at Stephen Furtick. Anyway, thank you as always for all you guys do. And thank you very much for the review, JC.
Thank
Appreciate
you, JC.
that.
Yeah, don't start too much over there. You don't want to cause issues.
Well, if you make fun of the lizard people too much, especially the lizard people in church, they'll come at you.
I know. All right. Thank you, JC. Next up, we have Morv.
Thank you very much, Morv. Producer Morv is on a streak. 18 episodes in a row, which means Morv is gone supernova.
This is Charlie, November Tango. You are approaching supernova. Repeat, you are approaching supernova.
That's right. Morv comes in with a pocket full of 7s. Thank you very much, Morv.
Thank you very much, Morv.
And the following list are continued list of producers here, starting out with Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Thank you, Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey's on a streak.
Oh, I moved this one.
Oh, you know what? And I just noticed we got to remember to play that streak jingle for Scott K. He's made it to the level. We play.
Oh, did we play the wrong one?
I think so, but I could also be wrong.
No, you're right. You're right. Number 68.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got all confused, caught up with the 1001 there. Sorry about that, Scott K.
It's all good.
We'll get you back.
Next up, we have, so Sir Casey been supporting the show for 78 episodes in a row. Ooh. Thank you very much, Sir Casey, the Shield Knight. Next up, we have...
Do we have a next one? 78?
Yeah, you decided
88. That's
88.
Right. Okay, all right.
And I have not... Ooh, you know what? I like 88 is a contentious number for a lot of reasons, but I like the connection with Back to the Future.
Yeah, 88 miles per hour.
Yeah, I think if we start working with we start working with a jingle makers out there. Let's find some Back to the Future clips. Let's put some together real cool for 88. Next up, we have producer Child of God.
Thank you, Child of God.
Been supporting the show 13 episodes in a row on a streak, baby. Almost there, almost to Rocket Man, Child of God. And he comes in with a pocket full of 3s plus fees. Thank you very much. Next up, we have producer Dr. Who Done Dat.
Thank you, Dr. Who Done Dat.
16 episodes in a row. Thank you very much. Pocket full of 3s plus fees. Next, we have producer Brant W., who is also on a streak. 29 episodes in a row, coming in with pocket full of 3s. Next, we have producer Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
On a streak, 30 episode streak there. We got your microfiction for later in the show. And last but not least, we have producer Ciara, who's on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
41 episodes in a row.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it feels like just yesterday Ciara made it to Illuminated Master Shill, Lizard Master Shill rather, and now she's about to be the answer. Thank you very much, Ciara. And that concludes, well, let me do just a quick check for any latecomers. No? Okay, that concludes our list of producers for the day. Thank you very much, especially to the streakers keeping us going. A little bit of a light day, but that's okay. We appreciate it very much. And thank you to those who are not streakers as well. It's very important for everybody to come in, so we appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for this break for you?
No, I think that's it. Other than... Nice. You said that's it for all the producers. We have other producers that we'll thank later.
Oh, yes, of course. That was our financial producers coming in.
Yes.
So I think we should thank everybody for their patronage and wake on up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that you wanted this. I'm already ready for the other thing here. All right.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes,
so fun.
It's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable.
A new world order.
It's possible. When do we want it?
Wow, what a musical and beautifully exciting last 30 seconds of the show here.
It's better when we don't talk, just play jingles.
Banger after banger, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to start us off with a clip?
Yeah, so this, I think it needs a little bit of explaining here. This is a video that I found here. It was somebody shared it. It was from TikTok. The real Suge Avery. I don't know. It's one of these accounts. So you're going to hear her reaction to what's going on. So that's part of the fun of the video, I think. But also it's a broadcast from... I found the source here from October 4th, Religion and Science towards COP26, Pope Francis. And it's this big meeting here. It was published on the Vatican News YouTube channel. And so I'll play another part of it here. But if you've seen shows like V, and they talk about, or they show kind of the monotone aliens talking through humans type thing. And they don't do themselves any favors by presenting ideas in this manner. But also just keep in mind that the person filming the screen here is also commenting with her interjections.
We come together, united, to raise awareness of the unprecedented challenges that threaten our beautiful common home.
What in the Hollywood blockbuster?
Our faiths and spiritualities teach a duty to care for the human family and for the environment in which it lives. We are deeply interdependent with each other and with the natural world. We are not limitless masters of our planet and its resources. inevitable crises facing humanity are ultimately linked to a crisis of values.
Oh, it's getting real.
And spiritual.
Oh, wow.
We must address these challenges using the knowledge of science and the wisdom of religion.
Yikes!
We must think long term for the sake of the whole of humanity. Now is the time to take transformative action as a common response.
It's a movie! We're living in a movie! We're living in a movie!
We need a framework of hope and courage. But we also need to change the narrative of development.
Why so monotone?
Change is a grave threat. We advocate for common but differentiated climate action at all levels.
So anyway.
What in the world, dude? I may have zoned out for a second. What is this event?
You got hypnotized.
Totally. What is this?
This is the October 4th, 2021 Religion and Science Towards COP26 Pope Francis Vatican meeting.
Dude, honestly, just watching the video and listening to it and seeing that woman who was speaking at the podium, I thought I was watching a cutscene from a video game.
A video game or a movie, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's out of this world. I mean,
I thought at any moment, like, the action was going to start and, like, the, superhero was going to fall from the ceiling and, like, disrupt the music. Secret Illuminati meeting.
Yeah, it's the classical music and then, like, the echo, the reverb in the room, and, like, what in the world is going on? And it's like all dystopian, talking about melding science and religion. It's whoa, what is going on?
That was extremely bizarre.
Yeah, and it had that hypnotic, rhythm to it, kind of like that weird thing that, I mean, you even got trapped.
And they're like showing B-roll. They're like showing B-roll of the room and like paintings, like super sort of iconic paintings of religious scenes, Vatican style, and like just so strange.
Yeah. So earlier in the show,
that woman looks like an actual lizard, not even a lizard person, just like an actual lizard. I'm not trying to lizard shame. I'm just saying that's what also made me think it was a cutscene or something. I'm like, surely this woman is not real.
If you want to talk about coincidences, with air quotes, earlier we mentioned White Castle, in the Flippy story.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how often the word castle comes up on the show, but I found a clip from the same event here, Religion and Science Towards COP26, Pope Francis on the Vatican News Channel. A woman named Gretchen Castle, a global Quaker leader with decades of organizational development experience, who was named Dean of the Earlham School of Religion. She's the first the ESR's first female dean. And so she's speaking at this Vatican event here, and this is a small clip of her thing.
Thank you, Holy Father, and brothers, and most importantly, sisters who are present.
Most importantly.
Despite a bleak future for this earth, our faith gives us hope. We must come to be reconciled with our earth, our human family, and our God. Quakers, known for our work in peace and justice, are guided by a spiritual imperative to respect all life. God has entrusted us with the beauty and the miracle of creation, and as a human family, we have fallen short of caring for it. We must address our overconsumption and wasteful habits and learn to live in a collective, socially supportive world community, respectful of all life. We must address the unequal economic systems and the human impacts of climate change. The climate crisis affects us all, but not equally. The poorest who have done the least to cause the crisis are hardest hit. As wealthier nations, we have a responsibility to remember what Jesus said, "If you have done it to the least of these, you have done it unto me."
All right. But, yeah, there you go. There's a little bit of her.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's very strange. I mean, it's the narrative has fully switched over. This is, again, not a mention of COVID, not a mention of pandemic, just all about the climate crisis and how a one world religion is the only way for us to not even solve it. Just it's the only response available for these people. Apparently,
very interesting. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and just to note here, she's talking about no more overconsumption. And I lost a spot here. In the footage of her saying it,
hilarious coming from the Vatican.
The Vatican, just a wide shot of the incredible architecture that is part of this building.
Lavish, incredibly lavish buildings, gold walls.
Overconsumption.
These religious leaders are all wearing like gold chains. 100-foot high ceilings, pillars. It's too much.
I just think it's hilarious. It's just hypocrisy. I don't know. It's not even. It's funny because it surpasses the irony. It's worse than irony. It's real like this.
Yeah, it's passed from irony into full-on satire.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Okay.
All right. You want to talk about Gaia?
Yeah, might as well at this point.
It all ties together.
Yeah, this is quite a theme here. This is coming from MSN.com. It's mirrored from The Guardian, and the headline says, "Beware, Gaia, beware. Gaia may destroy humans before we destroy the Earth." Okay, all right. Well, hey, they're getting right down to business.
Gaia was a judgment god, huh?
Yes, goddess. Gaia, wrathful mother goddess of Earth. It goes like this. "I don't know if it's too late for humanity to avert a climate catastrophe, but I am sure there is no chance if we continue to treat global heating and this is interesting, global heating and the destruction of nature as separate problems." Who is doing that? Who is considering it separate problems? I don't think anybody is. Okay. That is the wrong-headed approach of the United Nations, which is about to stage one big global conference for the climate in Glasgow, having just finished a different big global conference for biodiversity in Kunming. This division is as much of a mistake as the error made by universities when they teach chemistry in a different class from biology and physics. Person's got a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. It is impossible to understand these subjects in isolation because they are interconnected. The same is true of living organisms that greatly influence the global environment. The composition of the Earth's atmosphere and the temperatures of the surface is actively maintained and regulated by the biosphere, by life, by what the ancient Greeks used to call Gaia. Almost 60 years ago, I suggested our planet self-regulated like a living organism. I called this the Gaia theory, and was later joined by biologist Lynn Margulis, who also espoused this idea. Both of us were roundly criticized by scientists in academia. I was an outsider, an independent scientist. Oh yeah, by the way, this is written by James Lovelock. So he has some pull over at The Guardian, apparently. I was an outsider, an independent scientist, and the mainstream view then was the neo-Darwinist one that life adapts to the environment, not that the relationship also works in the other direction. As we argued. In the years since, we have seen just how much life, especially human life, can affect the environment. The two genocidal acts, suffocation by greenhouse gases and the clearance of rainforests, have caused changes on a scale not seen in millions of years. Because subjects like astronomy, geology, and meteorology are taught separately in schools and universities, few people are aware of the natural forces affecting the Earth's surface temperature. It is really hard to not be aware of what the climate people want you to hear about. You literally have to live under a rock to not be constantly bombarded by all the climate change stuff. So I'm not sure who this guy thinks he is or thinks we are, but okay. For billions of years, the Earth's surface temperature has been determined mainly by the radiant heat coming from the sun. This energy increased over time because it is the nature of stars like the sun to increase their heat output as they grow older.
Obviously.
Yes. But temperatures on Earth remained relatively stable thanks to Gaia. Ooh, thank you, Gaia. Forests, oceans, and other elements in the Earth's regulating system, which kept the surface temperature fairly constant and near optimal for life. The global warming that concerns all of us, and which we'll be discussed this week in Glasgow, includes a great deal of extra heating that comes as consequence of extracting and burning fossil fuels since about the middle of the 19th century. That releases methane, carbon dioxide, and other gases into the atmosphere. They absorb radiant heat and stop it from escaping Earth. This is what causes global warming. Oh my gosh. So, by the way, I figured out how to turn off the birds in my VR space.
Cool.
Which is great. I got that. But there are still birds flying around in the space. And they're like flying in and out of my screens. I cannot figure out how to turn off the birds, their existence. They're like attacking me.
Yeah, somebody knew that device was going to you and for this purpose.
I know, and they knew that I'd be reading this about how Gaia is coming for revenge.
As birds swoon dive on your eyes.
Virtual birds coming for my eyeballs. The amount of global warming depends hugely on the properties of water. When cold ice forms, much of it is white snow. Ooh, this reflects the sunlight back to space and is cooling. Okay, but when it is warm, the water vapor in the air is a powerful greenhouse gas that makes it warmer still. That's funny. So not only do we have to worry about methane and carbon dioxide, we just have to worry about humidity. Humidity is cooking the Earth. Much of the confusion over global heating comes about because the huge quantities of heat needed to change the state of water. Few are aware that to melt a gram of ice takes 80 calories, enough heat to raise the temperature of 1 milliliter of water to 80 degrees Celsius. Try an ice cube in your boiling hot tea. Okay?
Things get hot.
Yeah, hot. Yes, hot things melt cold things. Woo! Then imagine how much heat was needed to melt large areas of the polar ice cap during the recent summer, and how much hotter the world would have been if the ice had not been there.
You know what this sounds like?
Cold meaning the cold things make other things cold.
It's starting to sound like it's just one giant cover-up excuse for like the more or less space satellite laser weapons that heat up, use heat to kind of generate distant targeting fires and burnings and carving designs into fields.
Why is there no math on how much space lasers and bombs in the Middle East are adding to the global heating? Yeah. I'm going to skip some because it's kind of just rambling, honestly.
Yeah.
It goes like this. We need to address the problem of overpopulation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, lucky for him, the plan is underway.
Oh, yeah. There are people that have, long before you, had some amazing plans for...
He's an overpopulationist. Yeah. Maybe he needs to team up with Bill Gates. We also need to address the problem of overpopulation and to urgently halt the destruction of tropical rainforests. Most of all, we need to look at the world in a holistic way. I am not hopeful of a positive outcome at COP26, knowing who is participating. I was not invited to Glasgow, though that is hardly a surprise, as well as being 102 years old.
Wow.
I'm an independent scientist, and the university academics have never been comfortable with that. But my fellow humans must learn to live in partnership with the Earth. Otherwise, the rest of creation will, as part of Gaia, unconsciously move the Earth to a new state in which humans may no longer be welcome. The virus, COVID-19, May well have been one negative feedback. Gaia will try harder next time with something even nastier. Dun dun dun. Yeah, so apparently James Lovelock is the originator of Gaia theory and the author, most recently, of WACCINE. This op-ed was told to Jonathan Watts, the Guardian's global environment editor. So yeah, got the old school guy, James Lovelock, coming in, telling us about how Mother Earth is going to murder us for using ice in our tea. I kind of lost the plot a little bit in there somewhere, but you know, you kind of get the point.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. This is almost I don't know. I'm trying to get to the top here. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm speechless.
All right.
I'm
He's
speechless.
speechless. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing kind of speaks for itself, but as we, on theme with the, all the religious, the one world religion forming and sort of satirically claiming that overconsumption is the issue. Mix that with Lovelock getting an opportunity to speak out as a 102-year-old talking about how the goddess Gaia is going to take revenge.
So is this kind of like in kind of the new agey sense or worldview or perspective? Is Lovelock some kind of prophet person, or is he just a researcher guy?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
because he's sort of laying out an eschatology here. It's like Gaia will judge. And
he has
nasty.
done a good job of sort of staying away from that. People have taken his Gaia theory.
Naturally, people have. Yeah, there's probably some people that take it the extreme.
Yeah, he's
like
not necessary. He doesn't explicitly introduce an actual spirituality around it outside of the science. He's over the years, he's done a pretty good job of sort of, basing it on the science. However, he does speak sort of poetically, which lends itself to people, taking the Gaia thing as a literal deity.
Right.
But I don't know if that was his intent or not. But he's sort of the grandfather of the recent sort of Gaia movement.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But, what was I going to say? Oh, nuts. I forget. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it very interesting as the narrative continues to shift over. Oh, if anybody else published that COVID-19 was spiritual punishment from a deity named Gaia, they would be run out of town as a disinformation crazy religious nut. If somebody, and people have said it, COVID-19 is punishment from God. And it's like, those people are complete whack jobs. But this guy gets to come out and say, COVID-19 is punishment from Gaia. And it's just like, it's Lovelock.
Well, when the belief system, whether, he gets credit for it or not, permeates the highest levels of world institutions. They use it as a worldview or a narrative to go and spring into action.
Totally.
And part of that has to do with what the World Economic Forum wants to do, because you don't want Gaia to judge us. So we got to do something first.
They literally fear Gaia.
Yeah, they fear Gaia.
They fear judgment from Gaia. But if somebody was to say, which we do not say, but if somebody was to say that COVID-19 was judgment from God, then they'd be on the censored list over on YouTube.
Yeah. So World Economic Forum here. This is weforum.org. If the world is serious about sustainability, it must embark on a new era of global law.
Perfect.
If we're serious about it, not that we weren't serious about it all this time, but now that we're serious about it, we should talk law.
Oh, Gonz, you crazy conspiracy theorist. Why would you think that there's an elite cabal of lizard people who want a one world government in order to consolidate power over all humanity? Oh, sorry. It's from Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum. Oh, okay, yeah, that's just that's cool. We need that. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, it says here, our civilization is entering an era of seismic changes, challenges, and opportunities. Many call it the Anthropocene, right? I think that's how you say it. Anthropocene, an unofficial unit of geologic time, used to describe the most recent period in Earth's history when human activity started to have a significant impact on the planet's climate and ecosystem. The driver of these changes is a new phase of globalization and technological progress with a tremendous impact on our ecosystem. Global processes affect different spheres of life in different ways, but the current fragile world order is threatened by the imbalances they are introducing, as shown in a range of rising threats across the planet. Wow. World Economic Forum just straight up telling us. The third era of international law. It is unlikely that we will be able to govern in the era of the Anthropocene through old norms and institutions. International law has already gone through two main stages. International law as the law of interstate relations, and then as the law of international relations, parentheses, regulated or mediated by supranational institutions or non-governmental organizations, NGOs, as we work out how to face the challenges of coming decades at COP26. Now is the time for international law to enter a third phase, global law, truly governing sustainable development as a world community and providing solutions to planetary level changes.
He's literally talking about a one world government.
Wow. Yeah, the legal part of the whole thing, we always knew was a large hammer. It was when it happens, it's like, oh, it's really happening. It was in the realm of law, you know, just because they can enforce things. They have justification to enforce certain types of arrests or whatever.
Yeah.
Regarding sustainable development, the Montreal Protocol of 1987 laid the foundation for climate diplomacy, while the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change of 1992 set guiding principles for the Conference of the Parties, it's a COP forum. More recently, the Kyoto Protocol of 2005 dealt with the reduction of emissions among developed countries, Paris Agreement, blah, blah, blah. What is global law? Yeah, what is global law? Global law is defined by the Global Law Forum. Do they have to have somebody say something officially always?
They do. That's the point.
So funny.
That's the point.
Global
is
law,
like, what
as
is
defined
it?
by the Global Law Forum.
We put together this very special group of rich elites who are going to tell us what it is.
So Global Law Forum is defined by the Global Law Forum. A global law is a system of principles, norms, and technological solutions aimed at the formation of global governance.
There it is.
Not even hiding it, just straight up global governance for sustainable development and the realization of global human rights, including digital rights. Global law is not a parallel third system of law to domestic and international legislation. It aims to take into account all current subjects of international law, based on international laws as well as the domestic legal systems of all countries. So just straight up saying, like, your national laws won't matter anymore.
Exactly. It'll supersede any individual country's laws.
That is crazy. I mean, like I said, it's a big hammer.
It's crazy that it's just like, again, this has been tinfoil hat, crazy conspiracy theory for so long, and it's just out there. It's on the main
Economic Forum
on
website.
the website. It's in the brochure. This is what we're working for. There's no digging deep into the diaries of Freemasons or looking at the magical writings of occultists in the early 20th century, which for a while that was sort of the basis, or a clip from George Bush once mentioning the word New World Order, where you had to sort of cobble together this evidence for what they were going for. Nope, it's right in the brochure. They're just telling you what the plan is. It is no longer conspiracy theory. It is of public interest. This is the news. The news of the day is the World Economic Forum is putting together the framework for a one world government. That is
not
the
just
news of the day.
The legal level, which is pretty substantial. You get all the documents in place. Now they can act on whatever.
Not even just philosophy.
Yeah,
they're writing
philosophy.
it
They're
down
writing it on paper. Yeah,
and encoding it into law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean,
Crazy.
I guess the dumbing down has worked. It's like, we just need to find a threshold, get it past a certain level, and then they won't have enough masses to change,
Yeah.
The principles of global law are based on the interdependence of our social planetary ecosystem and includes the realization of human rights, giving priority to solving global threats through the creation of global governance. Again, just straight up telling you. Unification of legal norms and the creation of digital mechanisms for their implementation.
Digital mechanisms.
Yeah.
Hello, digital ID, vaccine passport.
All that stuff. In parentheses, with the development of GovTech, CivTech, and Legal Tech. So we have GovTech, government, CivTech, so civil, and Legal Tech.
AI is all over that.
And then open, and then open, transparent, decentralized global lawmaking with a multi-stakeholder element.
Great.
That is so deceptive because
you've got stakeholder capitalism. You've got decentralized buzzword for blockchain.
It's not just a buzzword though, because what they'll do is these stakeholders will all own a master node in the network.
Yeah.
And then all you peons can, basically eat off of.
It's proof of stake protocol is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is for those. We don't need to get into it, but there is there's a certain kind of blockchain called proof of stake, which is the more of the coin you own, you actually have voting power within the network. And they're basically just talking about a form of proof of stake, which is the stakeholders, those who own the companies and have the money, are the ones who will have the authority to make the rules, which is not new, but now it's empowered by decentralized global networks.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Bitcoin runs on proof of work, so it's built a little bit differently, and Ethereum is moving from proof of work to proof of stake.
Yeah.
They're being forced to move into this model.
Yeah.
Or not forced, but maybe they are forced. I don't know.
I mean,
you seen that guy?
Some would say. Again, we don't need to get into it, but some would say that proof of stake is sort of the fiat of blockchain.
Yeah, there's a little more finicky thing there. But okay, so making sustainability a global reality. The classic concept of sustainable development combines three different components: environmental, social, and economic. No, it's not ESG. But economic, environmental, social, and economic, all reflected in the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda 2030. And it goes on. But, there you go. I mean, it's pretty out there, folks. This is one to share with your normie friends.
Straightforward. If anybody ever questioned your New World Order global governance conspiracy theory, it's not conspiracy. It's conspiracy theory. It's just the news. I'm looking at the time, Gonz. We need to keep moving.
I know. Yep. All right.
Let's check in on some politics.
All right.
It's Latin for many. Tick. Now suck your blood. Now politics. Your blood.
I forgot that I had somebody sent us, I think it might have been producer Gary, sent us a link to broadbandcommission.org, and it's the Building Back Better with Broadband. Global goal.
It's too many bees.
And a lot of bees. Okay, so politics here. A lot going on in around the country in the U.S. here. Let's just have a couple clips about it, and then we can move into the story you got there from the New York Post.
George, this is a sonic boom of a wake-up call for Democrats.
Sonic boom.
Biden won Virginia by 10 points just a year ago. He won New Jersey by 16 points. And the big factor is the one you mentioned. Republicans vastly outperformed in the suburbs. That is precisely where the battle for control of Congress will be waged next year in the midterm elections. And, George, the Democrats tried relentlessly to tie both of these candidates to Donald Trump. And this strategy failed miserably. It failed in Virginia. And again, the fact that New Jersey, and we don't know the results here, Murphy may still pull it out, but the fact that that state is so close is really something that nobody anticipated, and perhaps even a bigger wake-up call for Democrats.
Yeah. A lot of wake-up call for Democrats talk all over the political news.
A lot of wake-up call for Democrats talking.
Sonic boom! A sonic boom for Democrats.
Yeah, and so Virginia went to the GOP, the gubernatorial thing, which was a big upset and very interesting. I had not checked in on the New Jersey thing. I don't think it had been decided since we started the show, but it looks like from the chat maybe they've finished it. But either way, big things happening, and is reflected in this New York Post article here. This was came out on the 1st, so if it references the Virginia thing, it was before that vote. But the headline here is nearly half of Democrats want a candidate other than Biden to run in 2024, poll reveals. Uh-oh, Biden. Uh-oh, nearly half of your party doesn't want you to run again. Over 40% of Democrats believe their party will have a better chance of winning in 2024 if President Biden is replaced at the top of the ticket, according to a poll released on Monday. 44% of Democrats and Democrat-leading independents want another candidate on the ballot. 36% want to keep Biden, and 20% aren't sure, a Marist national poll found. Oofa doofa, that's a rough set of numbers for Biden. Only 36 want to keep him around.
Wow.
The other, what is it, 64% either definitely want him out or just aren't convinced that he's the right pick. Among Republicans and GOP-leaning independents, 50% believe former President Donald Trump gives them the best chance. Gives them... There's a fun little detail here. These new VR controllers have a little touchpad on them instead of just the joystick. And sometimes I forget about that and I zoom off into the universe. Among Republicans and GOP-leaning independents, 50% believe former President Donald Trump gives them the best chance of retaking the White House. 35% opt for someone else, and 14% don't know. And just 44% of Americans approve of the job Joe Biden is doing, while 49% disapprove. In last month's poll, 45% approved and 46% disapproved. So the graph is moving in the wrong direction for Biden. The Marist poll mirrors the other recent surveys that have found Biden's job approval ratings tumbling into the 40% range. The president's numbers have been going south since August, and questions about his leadership following the chaotic Afghanistan pullout, his stalemated legislative agenda in Congress, the administration's handling of the coronavirus vaccines, and the continuing drag on the economy. Speaking at the conclusion of the G20 summit in Rome on Sunday, Biden shrugged off concerns for his sinking numbers. Quote, "By the way, look, the polls are going to go up and down and up and down. They were higher earlier, and then they got medium. They were higher early, then they got medium. Then back
they
up.
wrote it in print.
I can't believe they didn't even give him. They didn't even give him the mercy, the mercy killing of just putting an ellipsis in there. They put in and then they got medium, then back up, and now low, he told reporters. Look at every other president. The same thing has happened. Whatever you got to tell yourself, Joe. But that's not why I ran. I didn't run to determine how well I'm going to do in the polls, he said.
He's so
Obviously.
noble. So noble.
Yeah. Still, the poll showed that Democrats hold a slight edge in generic congressional races, with 44% of registered voters saying they'll vote for a Democrat in their district, compared to the 41% who will go Republican. But that margin has narrowed since September, when the poll showed Democrats had an 8 percentage point advantage. Asked about election integrity, 62% of Americans say they will trust the results of the 2024 vote, even if their candidate loses. That's too low. That is too low of a number. 62% of people will trust the election.
Yeah,
Hello?
that's getting close to half the people of the country don't trust the election.
Totally.
By design, by the way, I would imagine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And here's the fun part, but only 33% of Republicans will have confidence in the result, compared to 82% of Democrats and 68% of independents. Asked whether they trusted that elections are fair, 86% of Democrats and 60% of independents have a great deal or good deal of faith, but only 34% of Republicans agreed. Look, the Democrats won. They won. Their guy won the race. And still, 14% of them don't think elections are fair. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right?
That's pretty bad, yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Your guy won, and 14% of you think that it was rigged? They're like, yeah, it was rigged for us. It was great.
14% that, I don't know if it's that, but yeah, 14% of people at least have a chance to be redeemed.
Well, okay. Americans have more confidence in their state and local election officials, 70%, and then it goes more numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Long story short, over 40%, nearly half of Democrats don't think Joe Biden is the right guy to run in 2024, which, look, it's one thing to lose your second term election like Trump. That's one thing, you know, not a ton of presidents lose their second term election. Even fewer presidents are told by their constituents not to run for their party as an incumbent president. I mean, that is a whole new level of failure at the presidency. So there you go. That's sort of how Dems are feeling out there right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it makes... You know, once you run out of the revenge juice, you know, you're kind of out of ammunition. You start to feel bad about the situation regardless. Doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. You know, you're kind of just like, wow.
Of course. Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, just in case there's anybody new out there into the show, we're not coming at this from some sort of smug conservative standpoint where the left-right paradigm is the scourge of modern politics. And, you know, the same, whatever, two sides of the same coin, two wings of the same bird, controlled ultimately by the wealthy power centers above the political class. It is what it is. But that being said, this is how Democrats are feeling.
Yep. And, I got the wrong story. What am I doing here? Okay. We're going to do you want to skip one of these, or did you just want to run through them quick?
Well, I would say I'm going to leave that up to you. I think for time-wise, if we really want to hit that out, we might save the Space Pope thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's your kind of thing, so I'll let you make the decision on that.
Well, let me just run through this stuff.
We could also skip the WAPO. I mean, that's not the end of the world.
WAPO's kind of funny, though.
Okay. Why don't we do WAPO? We'll save Space Pope for next episode.
All right, so WAPO, that's Washington Post. The COVID conspiracy theorists inside the White House press corps.
Ooh.
Oh. If you have
what could possibly count as COVID conspiracy at this point?
If you have never heard the name Emerald Robinson, that would suggest that you are not one of the 430,000 plus people who follow her on Twitter. Just dishing out the cred right at the beginning here. Robinson.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. If you don't know who she is, you probably don't follow her on Twitter. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess your logic is sound, but it's kind of a weird thing to say.
Robinson is very proud of her sway on social media, using engagement metrics the way augurs use entrails. I, for example, am less popular than President Biden, according to her detailed calculations.
How many people do you think understand that reference? He's talking about augurs and entrails.
I don't know.
I'm thinking maybe 8% of the population understand that reference.
Yeah, well, he's smart. Yeah. He's well read.
He's bragging.
Many people have around 500,000 followers on Twitter, and many people with a large number of followers on social media elevate obviously false claims about public health or flatly reject the idea that the United States should embrace religious diversity. Very few of them, though, are also members of the White House press corps, empowered to question White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on whatever tidbit piques their curiosity on a given day. There's probably only one, Robinson, one of Newsmax's White House correspondents, having previously held the same position at One America News. On Monday, Robinson offered her thoughts on the coronavirus vaccine, intertwining false claims about the vaccine's ingredients with her uncomplicated embrace of conservative Christianity. Quote, "Dear Christians, the vaccines contain a bioluminescent marker called luciferase so that you can be tracked," she wrote. "Read the last book of the New Testament to see how this ends." After it prompted a lot of outcry and no small amount of head scratching, Robinson deleted that tweet, but others in the same vein remained. For example, "Dear Christians, if you want to avoid taking the mark of the beast, I would suggest that you start by avoiding anything that injects luciferase into your body." It's back in September 26th of 2021. This idea that the vaccines contain the compound luciferase has been debunked in every sense that Robinson is trying to deploy it. The Lucifer in luciferase is from the Latin words meaning light and carry, because it's the compound that causes bioluminescence in organisms, including fireflies, because it gives off light. The compound is useful in medicine, allowing doctors to observe phenomena such as vaccine response more quickly than with blood tests. Some testing for the coronavirus vaccine used luciferase in trials, but it's not present in the final vaccines.
Oh, I'm glad
totally debunked. It was in the trial, but we're not talking about the trial, right? It's not in there now, so
certainly, they of course changed the ingredient list between the trial and the product. Like any product, they create something and then totally change it before bringing it to market.
And it's not about Satan; it's just Lucifer, light, carrying light.
That's the funniest part about it. It just has literally no clue.
Come on, man. Prometheus, you never heard of Prometheus? They made a movie, like a alien version of the thing. Anyway, I'm yelling at the author of this article. That's what it's come to. Regardless, it has nothing to do with Lucifer, the name often used to refer to the devil in Christian theology, except that Lucifer's name, too, stems from the Latin for light and carry, again, as a function of the stories told about his emergence. Parentheses, in the book of Luke, Christ says he saw the devil fall like lightning from heaven. Okay. Suggesting that luciferase is somehow related to Lucifer is like suggesting that a bibliography is religious because it has the same root as Bible. Mm-hmm. Okay. None of this matters to Robinson, not that this was debunked months ago, or that her source for the most recent claim was a Twitter account with 100 followers named The Truth is Seek One. That account, too, is less popular than Biden. Okay. It doesn't matter to her that there's no mark of the beast in the vaccines, either bioluminescent or, as she'd previously speculated, using a quantum dot tattoo. What matters to Robinson is that she stoked the idea that the federal government is acting in opposition to conservative Christian culture, a culture that she overtly states she should be the exclusive root, of American society. And it's got a tweet here where she says, "I don't want multicultural society. I want a Christian society." Which, I don't know. That's
something you're not going to tweet unless you want to get a rise out of people. That's for sure.
Yeah, at the very least, it borders on the conversation of theocracy when you start bringing that kind of stuff up.
Yeah, which is a serious conversation that Christians should have.
Yeah. That Dear Christians formulation in her tweet is common. She's informing goes into some other examples, mentions George Soros, the common themes of all the stuff here.
Yeah, the stuff you get canceled for.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
his whole point, first of all, he embarrasses himself by trying to pick apart Luciferase and Lucifer. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just embarrassing for him to do, and he doesn't even know it, unfortunately. But But again, it's going back to this thing of like, should someone that you don't have the exact same ideas as be allowed to work and ask questions of our government? Can you believe that this person who has a slightly different worldview than you is allowed to ask Jen Psaki questions? Like, okay, really? You just don't want any diversity of thought or anything. You just want Jen Psaki to go unchallenged and just spoon feed propaganda straight from the pulpit. You don't want anybody asking tough questions. No. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Go back to referencing your witchy stuff and misinterpreting the Bible. That's a great place for you to just hang out, Philip Bump.
Yeah, Philip Bump. I don't know if that's a real name either.
Yeah.
A lot of these names don't sound real. All right. Well, did you want to go into break, or did you want me to run through the space?
I think we should go through the break.
Okay.
I just want you to make it. You got to make it to boxing today, Gonzo.
I know.
You won't. I mean, it's up to you. You're not going to make it to boxing if we go through this thing.
I've committed to punching bags. I should probably.
We got to get you out there, man.
Yeah.
Keeps you sane.
I know.
All right. Let's take a second. Take a quick break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, we're going to take another quick break, but this one is this one's for the creative folks. There's all sorts of ways to produce the show, not just with your treasure, but also with your time and your talent. And our creative producers out there who are artists and musicians, send us material, some real collaborative efforts here to continue to grow the culture within the podcast and its surrounding community, which we appreciate so much. And it's all good stuff. And if you follow us on Instagram, you will have seen I did it, folks. I followed through on my promise to post the art on the Instagram. So you can go follow our Instagram page. I think I changed the name. No, I didn't. Okay. I put in a request to change the name, which has not been approved.
You can get approval from the overlords, social media overlords.
If you want to follow us on Instagram today, search Canary Cry Radio or Canary.Cry.Radio, which is our username there. And follow us over there. I'll be posting the art on the Instagram for everybody who, especially if you're just an audio listener. You know, I know the video listeners, they get to see it all immediately. But we have so many audio listeners who need a chance to see the art. So go follow the Instagram. Okay, take us away, Gonzo.
All right. So,
by the way, I don't know how this happened. I don't even know how the timing on this worked out. Somebody sent us an 88 jingle during the show. I think they sent it in even before I mentioned that I wanted it to be from Back to the Future. So I don't know if you can do some quick loading. They understand if we can't get it in on this show, but
I got it.
You got it? Okay, great. All right. Sorry.
Okay. So, multiple ways to produce a show. We already thanked the people that came in with their treasure. We're going to thank the people that come in with their time and talent. First off, Jade Bouncerson, thank you very much for the timestamps for episode 405. Came in a little bit late, but it's okay because I still was able to get the timestamps up there on YouTube at the very least. And, we appreciate that. We're going to go through some jingles here.
We have a new jingle.
All right, so we got a couple from Learbag 3000. We got a re-edited version of the Perfection jingle, I believe, which I think we played last time. We don't have to play it again.
Yeah, but thank you for that edit, Learbag.
And we also got the Let's Go Brandon. He said he couldn't help himself.
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on. I guess I didn't download it.
Uh-oh.
It'll take a second.
Okay.
Come on,
yeah,
Internet.
You know, this Let's Go Brandon thing is so funny. Most people have a humorous, take on it. There are certainly people who I was a little surprised. Not that it's a bad thing, but I was a little surprised. We did have some listeners who were thought it's the very concept of "Let's Go Brandon" is very rude. But you know what? It is what it is. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Pretty intense.
That's pretty funny. That is intense. What is that audio at the end? Was that January 6th?
I don't know. Well, no.
Audio at the end there?
Sounds too intense to be January 6th.
It was pretty intense.
Movie or something.
Right.
So thank you very much, Learbag.
Thank you very much, Learbag.
Next up, we have one from Jack V. And,
ooh, Jack V's back.
Yeah, he said, hey guys, wanted to make sure you got this jingle. Let me know if you have any edit suggestions. And it's the Zuckerverse.
Hey everyone, we are live from my
Zuckerverse,
where I am smoking meat. I'm the meat chef, but I'm genuinely Zuck.
Where'd you find this?
I'm genuinely Zuck.
It's pretty good.
That is good. Thank you very much, Jack V.
Thank you, Jack V. I can use those for sure.
Yeah, that's a great metaverse jingle too.
Yep. All right, we got one from Marty B as well.
Biden's your Marty B jingle.
Whee!
Marty B has his own introductory jingle for those of you who might be the first time listening through here. He says, "Hey guys, I have a virgin with vocals, but I'm trying to find a female vocalist. And this is the CanaryCry.Party pop instrumental."
Party time.
And we can use it as a bed.
Yeah, that's fun. I think it's the vibe going, man.
Yeah, I think maybe after one of the breaks, we can use it to kind of, be happy again.
Yeah. Well, he is looking for a female vocalist, so I don't know how they can get a hold of Marty B, but I suppose they can send us a message or something. If you're a female vocalist, want to do some vox for this track.
Yep.
You know, we just got a message. We did miss a Learbag
another one?
Yep. It's called Hybrid.
Oh, Hybrid. Yes. I got it here right here.
Real biological inequality. This is something which is way beyond just another species.
Human-machine hybrids. Data is the key, and they will have power over us. That freaked me out.
It freaked me out.
That's really good.
He sent a note with this one. It says, "Hi, you guys are spot on. Satan mimics God. Between the impending reality of hybrids, crypto markets being the obvious future over stocks, and the fruition of the deadverse, we are seeing the true beast system coming into play. You know, Psalms 139:13, for you formed my inward parts, you knitted me together in my mother's womb, and Genesis 1:1-5. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and the darkness was over the face of the deep. The Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And there was evening and there was morning, the first day." Thank you very much, Gabe.
Thank you, Gabe. All right. We played the Marty B one, and then we got one in just in time here from Psalm 40. And there's a note here. He says, "Hey guys, I've been listening for years, and for years I've wanted to give back so badly, not just to the Canarian, but to the body of Christ as a whole. I'm still not sure I fully discovered what my role will be in all of this, but hopefully a jingle can hold everybody over. I've actually been working on a few different ones for several weeks now, but the perfectionist in me has made this endeavor harder than I thought it would be. I'm a musician."
The perfectionist is the enemy.
I know. Yep. No album is ever complete. As I've learned, experience in the studio. I'm a musician, so I have an ear for tones, and I love composing them. I have a few more in the works, so hopefully this won't be my last production for the show, God willing. If I don't make it into today's show, you made it, so don't worry about that. So, yeah, it's the 88. Which, again, that is very strange that we talked about that.
I think he got this in before we even talked about that this episode.
That is very interesting. Okay, so here it is.
Behold, I have come. In the scroll of the book it is written of me.
Wow. '80s vibes and Doc.
I love it. Yeah, that's good. I would say let's boost Doc a little bit up on that
Doc.
one. We need him nice and riding high over that bed there.
Yeah, you want him in your face. He's screaming 88 miles per hour.
But great job. Thank you very much.
Work.
Psalm 40.
There you go. Perfect. All right. I think that's it for the jingles. We're going to do some art here.
One art, please.
I'm going to start off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And Allie did... let me get the note here. Heckling Yacinda. A very naughty, unaccredited reporter's disruptive questions brought a crashing halt to what was shaping up to be a fascinating, undoubtedly completely factual press conference by Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand. Speculation is rampant, or conceivably could be, that she put the heckler up to the interruption, in an effort to avoid the potential of further, much more embarrassing heckling if she didn't get a potty break.
Yeah.
Hashtag poopy
Pants Yacinda. That's funny. Yes, and what we have here is a striking portrait of Yacinda with her mouth.
I know what you want to say, and let's be nice.
It's fine. It's nice. She's just got a very specific smile.
Yeah,
she's got very specific features in her smile. And she just thought she was having a blast here. But very well done, Allie. My goodness.
The note finishes off here. How much do they hate her to leave the end of that clip online? Yeah, of her saying, like, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that is funny, isn't it?
Putting it in the public article or whatever with it is pretty interesting. It's kind of like, okay.
A lot of connections with world leaders and their toilet habits recently.
Yeah, exposed. All right, thank you very much, Dame Allie. Transparent world.
Yeah.
All right, next
They're
up.
just like us, Gonz.
I know, yes. Humans. Okay. Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia. Oh, no. Yes, Knight of Rusbeltia.
One art, please, from Dove.
All right, this is fantastic. Another great piece by Dove. The note here says, peace. Had the idea for this one last week after you guys shared that crazy video of the human Mark Zuckerberg introducing us to the Zuckerverse. We catch up with Mark sharing a video with his dad after his dreadlocked dog Beast had gotten a pretty bad head wound, but bounced right back. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
That's funny. Yes, and we have here a scene straight from the Zuckerverse. We've got Mark Zuckerberg here with his reptilian eyes, and he's got his he was showing off the watch that you can sort of hologram call people in the metaverse here. And he's got his dad on the line, and his dad has red skin, pointy ears and horns and goatee. Zuckerberg's dad.
Yeah.
The devil. And he's got, his dog Beast there, who's got a bandage wrapped around his head because, the Beast has got the head there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yet lived, yeah. And
in the background, we've got a wonderful depiction of the very exact what was it? It was like street art from the metaverse.
The street art that was seamlessly between virtual and on the wall on the street. Yeah.
So we're in the metaverse here. The street art has made it in, but the serpent eyeball portal is chilling on the virtual couch watching TV. He's got a little hand poking out with the remote control there and the little derpy-eyed snakes that comprise his body. And he's watching this is from an old art, wasn't it? It was like a Maury type show, a daytime sort of what are they called?
It's like one of those revealing shows.
It's like a Maury. What was the other one?
I don't remember now.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, what is the name of the
Jerry
famous
something?
Jerry. Yes. The
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh.
My brain is completely eliminated
Well,
that
I
information.
thank God that somehow, thankfully,
Springer.
that
Jerry Springer.
Jerry
Is that
Springer,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
he's got
there you
the
go.
Jerry Springer, and it's the hybrid episode of Jerry Springer. You know, they're always trying to figure out who's the dad on Jerry Springer. And it's the hybrid episode, and it says in the Chiron here, "This deer baby ain't mine." There's a deer person hybrid. And I'm very excited
From
to
the
learn
Netflix
that
show.
the deer baby ain't his.
Yeah.
I think that's Alex Jones on stage there too.
Yeah, he's telling the truth up there, it's his whole job. The note continues here. Oh, hold on.
They've been growing babies and cows.
Yep. With the PS, I'm emailing this at 2:30 in the morning because my wife is going into labor and we're getting the bags packed to go to the hospital. So,
oh my gosh.
Super excited. This is our first child. Just wanted to make sure I turn in the design before things got too hectic.
Wow.
Yeah.
How fun. Well, congratulations, Sir Dove. And congratulations to Mrs. Sir Dove there.
Yeah. And I'm just going to assemble the producers here.
Yeah.
Producers, assemble!
And prayers to Dove and his wife for a smooth, successful delivery and a healthy baby.
Yeah, amen. We got another little Canarian coming into the world, folks. That's very exciting, Dove. Congratulations.
Yeah, the Canarian era of children.
We'll see how this affects his very devoted schedule to making art for the show.
Hey, nowadays, with the way technology is, you can come up with something.
Sure, who knows?
A little pad.
Yeah, well, that's very exciting.
Yep.
Can't wait. I'm sure he's going to name the baby Basil Gonzo of Rusbeltia.
That would be something. I don't know the wife would allow that, but yeah, maybe.
Whose wife?
To her.
Your wife?
No,
or
not
his
my wife. His wife.
I don't know. Maybe she's a fan.
Okay.
Who knows? She might be on board.
Okay.
Mrs. Dove.
Please don't do it.
Don't listen to Gonz. You name your baby whatever. You name your baby after whatever podcasters you want, as long as it's Basil. As Basil makes it in there. See, forget Gonz. He doesn't want to be in there. You can do Basil Rogan. Dove.
Oh gosh. This is your in. You're trying to get in with Rogan. Like, hey, man.
Me and Rogan will finally have something to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dove. Appreciate it. And yes, we'll be praying for you for a healthy delivery there. Okay. Am I missing what page? Okay. I'm just trying to catch up on
doing
the
page 13.
I thought we did page 13. I have 14 here. We're talking about Ryan N. in his
his graphic novel. I don't remember. I'm looking at 13 now. I don't remember it.
Okay. Well,
I don't think so.
Hold on. Let me take a look. Sorry, folks.
13.
Yeah,
it's the one.
It's
the one with Ben Guile is back and he's alive.
Yeah, the Cyborg one.
After the Cyborg one.
Okay, so that was 13. So we're doing 14 today.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And that's the new one.
Are you sure? I'm looking at his emails. He has them. It doesn't matter.
We messed up the order last time. Remember, we had to switch it out.
I think it's more than just us, but that's okay. We'll do the next one with Ben Guile is now alive.
Right, he's alive, and he's. Do you see it yet?
I have it up on my side here.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, Ben Guile is back, folks, and if I can zoom in, here we go. And he's making an announcement live on television. It says, "Hello, everyone. Benedict Guile here. If you are seeing this, I am deceased, but not for long. With the document I've just signed, I signed my life away to the corporate entity of my company, Cupido International, LLC, allowing my body to be used as to test a revolutionary treatment at the recommendation of Lucius Falsus. Here's what's going to happen. Upon the point of my demise, nanobots present in my bloodstream would sense no pulse and get to work sourcing and repairing damaged tissue. When the work is complete, the bots regroup around my heart and self-destruct, shocking my system back to the land of the living. So, if everything has been followed to the letter, and he pulls up his little holographic wristwatch thingy, I should be alive right about now. And then it's cuts to white noise on the television screen there, and his face is looking very mean and scary. He's a very spooky man, but you can see his little head wound there that has been healed.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Dun, dun, dun. Thank you very much, Ryan N.
Great
It's
job,
happening.
Ryan.
It's all coming together.
Yep. Very good. Thank you very much. All right. Do you want to do meetups first or microfiction?
I can do microfiction real quick.
Okay.
Next up is the microfiction written by Runk Smash, if you've been following the saga here. And it goes like this. Basil and NFG park the mag octopod behind a ride and head out to save the future. But NFG catches two men stalking them through the crowd. They begin to run as the others begin to chase, but one of them stops to destroy a caricature artist's setup. Sorry, caricature artists. Your time has come.
I was wondering where this one was going. That's very funny. It's a very classic movie scene. You know, you're being chased in a large crowd. You realize you're getting chased, but yeah, the added destruction of the caricature artist setup.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
We've had enough of those mean character artists.
Human caricature artist destroy station. All right.
Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash. All right, let's do meetups.
CanaryCry Meetup.
CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Learn how to put your own meetup on or find one near you. Ciara's meetups, NorCal CCC meetup, November 6th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Well, what's coming up? I didn't realize we're already in November, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got to turn the calendar. I haven't even turned the calendar. What am I doing? What day is it? The third day of November?
Turned the calendar. What do you have, a Far Side calendar on your desk there?
I have the Canary Cry calendar on the wall.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, I got to turn the page.
Which, by the way, we'll just give a little tease.
Yeah.
There will be a Canary Cry 2022 calendar. So
That's right.
we will give you more information when it's time to get your hands on those.
Yep.
Great item. I mean, great.
Yeah.
If nothing else, great collector's item, but also effective calendar filled with important dates from the Canaryverse.
Yep. The SoCal meetup is going to be at the Lincoln Memorial Shrine on December 4th, 2021 at 1 p.m. There's an address there in Redlands, and you can RSVP Ciara Lauren 93@gmail.com. All the info will be there at the website.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington and Canada meetup, Peace Arch National Park, March 19th, 2022. That's a little ways out, but it's good to have it up there, ready to go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's all the stuff Ciara's putting together and leading. We have the EU meetup coming up. We're in the month, November 27th, the Vienna Christmas Market. So hopefully, Mr. Jag getting some responses from people out there in the EU.
Yeah, I haven't heard any updates, but last I heard, there was at least a couple people who had RSVP'd to that.
Yeah, we're in the month, so time is running out.
Yeah, make sure to RSVP. If you're in the EU and you want to meet up with some other Canarians at the Vienna Christmas Market, go ahead, get at them.
And we just have the other ones that have taken place as another one pending question mark on the website there.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had the Louisville, Kentucky, North Idaho, Arkansas, and Honolulu, Oahu. And I uploaded the images here.
Yes, we have our... Well, real quick, before we go into that, I do want to say, yes, if you go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com, go there, see what's going on. If there's not one by you, you can put your own on. But if there's one that has happened in the past near you, we left the contact information up there for the people who put it on, the hosts. And if you want to encourage them to put on another one, their email's there. Send them an email. Get in contact.
Yep.
You know, sometimes people just need a little support to make things happen.
Yep.
And yes, we did it. We've got the heads on sticks ready, Gonz.
I don't know how I feel about this.
I think it's wonderful. We saw them displayed on the video meetup report that we had.
Yeah.
And yes, if you're doing a meetup and you are sad that Gonz and I can't be there and you want us to be there in spirit or at least in image, you've got some big printouts. You can print out my head and Gonz's head. Just print them out, cut them out, put them on sticks. You can set them up at your meetup and take some pictures. It's a good time.
They found one of me with a sad face because I think I have a broken hand I think I have a broken hand and a green drink that probably didn't taste great.
That's what happened when I got to pick the pictures. I went back. That was the picture from when you broke your wrist or hand or something.
Yeah.
And I thought it fit the grumpy Gonz, going to the meetup motif.
Perfect. I'm just grumpy at the thing. Yeah. Stop Asian hate. I'm gonna get you on this one, Mr. Googly Eye Man.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yes, and the last meetup there that had them, the Ohio meetup, I believe. Oh, you know what? I might have lost the information for the Ohio meetup. I might need to put that one back in.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they had the heads there, and I was looking at it, and pretty funny. I'm just, I'm hoping it doesn't get much bigger because it was about normal head size. Printed on a piece of paper. It's when they start printing it on cardboard where I start
making it bigger and bigger.
Yeah, a little concerned.
Why? What's concerning about that?
It's just uncomfortable to have a, 3 or 4 foot face of you being held up.
3 or 4 feet. Yeah, it sounds like a challenge to me, folks.
It's not a challenge.
If you're doing a meetup, sounds like Gonz is daring you to make his head as big as possible.
No.
Print that sucker out on 12 pieces of paper. Do 4x3. I think that'll be great.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for the meetups.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Any other things to address during this break?
I don't think so.
I'll say go ahead and leave. First of all, you should check out my podcast, Ravel. It's another podcast I do. Started where we are doing a series on the death of God, which is a term coined by Nietzsche in his Madman parable there. Mm-hmm. And we're 2 episodes into that series. And I think it's a very valuable exploration of that term. I think there's ways in which Christians have misunderstood that thing, mainly because of Christian movies and stuff. Not that, but we explore it from many different ways throughout the series. We're talking to philosophers, media crit people, lawyers, all sorts of cool people who have a lot to say about it. So go check out Ravel if you haven't checked it out. It's a pretty heady journey. You can always start from the beginning of the whole podcast, which I recommend, but you can kind of jump in anywhere now. It's challenging. It's if you're looking for just your Sunday morning Bible study thing, this isn't quite that, but it is this is honest conversations exploring interesting things when it comes to Bible and God and theology and society and all these fun things. So go check it out. Search for Ravel. Another podcast did steal our name back when we first started it. So we are the one with the white background. It has my name on it. It's a cool logo, not the other one. So check that out. But also leave ratings and reviews for Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be reading ratings and reviews on Friday. Love it. It helps the algorithms quite a bit when we get, around 5 or so a week. It boosts those algorithms, shares the show with people who have never heard it before. And it's easy to do. If you have an Apple device, just search for Apple Podcasts on your device, whether it's a phone or a tablet or a computer or whatever, little purple icon, click on that, search for Canary Cry News Talk, leave a rating and review. And while you're at it, leave a rating and review for Ravel too, so we can get the algorithms going on that sucker as well. Okay, that's all.
All right, we didn't play the outro to the meetup thing, so I'll do that now.
This is fun!
You guys can ravel talk at the meetups, too.
Whee!
You don't have to be just Canary Cry.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Space, 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 space. Wanna go to space?
You know that thing that's supposed to be up there, outer space? Some drama. According to South China Morning Post, the headline here is Chinese satellite hints at space warfare prowess by dodging U.S. surveillance.
Oh, it's the Space Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars have begun.
It started. U.S. versus China. A Chinese satellite has used a maneuver to avoid being followed by a spying U.S. satellite, hinting at its capability in potential space warfare. But some defense analysts said the scenario was not new and the incident should not be seen as escalating the rivalry between China and the U.S. in space. Oh, so why did they start mentioning this and highlight this event in the mainstream news there? Quote, It is not difficult to monitor satellites, said Chinese military commentator Song Zongping. Quote, the U.S., Russia, and China are all able to monitor each other's satellites in orbit, but the U.S. will certainly plan its space infrastructure through monitoring the satellites of China and Russia. Such monitoring and maneuvering was not necessarily for a military purpose, he says. In July, the Shijian-20, China's heaviest and most advanced communication satellite, was approached in parallel by a U.S. space surveillance satellite, USA-271. The Chinese satellite rapidly moved away, U.S. military website Breaking Defense reported on Friday. The Chinese detected the shadowing of the American satellite, the report said, citing information from space tracking company Commercial Space Operations Center, ComSpoc, or ComSpoc. Quote, they start doing calibration maneuvers, and they're very, very small maneuvers, so it's hard, said Jim Cooper, the lead for space situational awareness at ComSpoc. Quote, it's about having the right system that can process and detect those small maneuvers when you're that close. The ComSpoc data also shows that in 2018, when another Chinese satellite, Tongjin Jishu Xian-3, took its position in geosynchronous orbit, the upper stage of the rocket that delivered the satellite had been loaded with extra fuel to enable it to stay parallel to it to act as a decoy. Cooper believed that was a tactic to fool an enemy's network of space situational awareness and to gain China several days of freedom during which it could, quote, be off doing things that are potentially threatening, while the other country had lost track of where the Chinese satellite was. Monitoring the maneuvering the orbiting satellites is a necessity to avoid collisions, but the U.S. has long been concerned about Chinese satellites' capabilities and potential space warfare. China has launched several satellites said to be scavengers that are fitted with robotic arms to grab and steer space debris so that it burns up in the Earth's atmosphere. But the Pentagon is concerned that the technology, quote, could be used in a future system for grappling other satellites, and was therefore a concern to the U.S. military. James Dickinson, commander of the U.S. Space Command, told a Congress hearing in April. A notable example, the Shijian-17, launched in 2016 with a robotic arm, had over the years made a number of unusual maneuvers and varied its position in relation to other satellites while in geostationary orbit above the Earth, according to think tank the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Although the Chinese developers said the Shijian-17's mission was to test, quote, high-orbit space debris observation technologies, Dickinson said it had the ability to potentially take down U.S. probes in space. Last week, the Shenzhen-21, China's latest model, and how many do they have up there? For the, quote, experimental validation of space debris mitigation technology was delivered to its designated orbit. So it seems like watching each other's moves is common, but what's kind of uncommon is that one of the Chinese satellites was like, it like ran away. It was like, you can't keep up with me.
Right.
Or something, and like took off, and the U.S. thing was like, what do we do? We lost track of this Chinese satellite.
This is why they need the four-legged space Flippy flying around.
Yeah.
So you can give a nice big hug to the Chinese satellite.
Yeah, so very interesting that we've gotten to the point now where we are starting to hear the drama of what's allegedly happening up there on behalf of countries, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, want to frame it
the
out
space
there?
wars, man. It's getting in there. It's gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right, let's do a little beast system here.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
This is coming from BusinessInsider.com. The headline is "The Google Executive Who Collects Presidential Hair." Have you heard of this before, Gonz?
I have not, but my mind immediately went to all the stuff about, we've been hearing about DNA and tracing things.
Totally.
And resurrecting people using their DNA. And
dude, apparently this presidential hair collecting thing is totally a thing. There's like a whole presidential hair industry. Okay, it goes like this. A few weeks ago, Jared Cohen, a Google executive, made the 90-minute trek from his Manhattan apartment to the sleepy suburb of Wilton, Connecticut, to purchase 24 hairs from the head of John Tyler, America's 10th president. The seller was John Resnikoff, an auctioneer and authenticator who, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, owns the world's largest collection of presidential hair. Resnikoff has samples from 25 former presidents and from celebrities like Edgar Allan Poe, Susan B. Anthony, Albert Einstein, Marie Antoinette, and Napoleon Bonaparte. An exquisite specimen of Lincoln's deathbed lock is among his most prized possessions. His collection, which he has been assembling for 3 decades, is so renowned that his JFK strands were used to disprove a Texas man's claim that he was an heir of Camelot. What?
I did not know this.
I did not know this either. What is Camelot? I mean, I know Camelot, the mythical kingdom of King Arthur.
Yeah.
What would that have to do with JFK's hair? Oh my gosh.
Isn't he part of the descendants of the, I don't know, love child?
King Arthur? Is he?
I don't know.
Okay. Resnikoff was also the inspiration for a character in a 2009 Law & Order episode about a presidential paternity case. That's when you know you've made it. When they base a character on Law & Order on you in your weird hobby. Resnikoff has never had his private collection appraised, and he hates to part with any of it. Cohen, a former advisor to several secretaries of state and author of Accidental Presidents, 8 Men Who Changed America, is one of his only clients. Resnikoff stores his locks in a filing cabinet in a temperature-controlled room in his 6,000 square foot office.
Jeez.
His office?
His office is humongous.
His office is bigger. This is like 3 times bigger than most houses.
Yeah.
I keep it organized in case I want to find this or that, and it keeps it away from the elements and safe from theft, he says. The vault is stuffy. No air conditioning. Security cameras are everywhere. Staring into a magnifying glass, Resnikoff works with the care of a jeweler and the precision of a surgeon, using a pair of the tweezers to tease out a specimen. Cohen, an avid collector of early American documents and the drinking vessels of historic figures, including Ronald Reagan's mug, has been collecting the hair of U.S. presidents for a decade. He and Resnikoff had spent the previous week in careful negotiations to acquire this particular artifact. Quote, "He's very convincing. I can't resist him," says Resnikoff.
What?
Oh, Google. Google executive has used some mind control on Resnikoff here. Quote, "He's probably one of the few people who I've sold multiple things to because he is really passionate, and I feel that somebody who has that kind of passion, I want to satisfy him." Yikes.
What was he saying? Was he saying stuff about how he can use the hair in a ritual to resurrect the dead?
Very
like some kind of
passionate. He's very passionate about using the DNA to reconstitute our American presidents and start a new world, a new world order. As Resnikoff worked, Cohen documented his every movement through the lens of his smartphone camera, lest the value of his quarry instantly evaporate. Ooh. Quote, "If one of the strands separates and lands on the table, it's done. You have to throw it away. It loses its provenance,"
Whoa.
Cohen says. Yeah. quote, I like to micromanage the extraction of my locks from his larger locks. If you aren't there in person, you can't document the transaction. That night,
Transition.
Transition.
Yeah.
That night, back home in Manhattan, Cohen waited for his kids to go to sleep before setting his treasure on his desk. Okay. You think
My
your dad's weird.
precious.
Yeah.
My precious hair.
Each transfer must be done in total stillness. He painstakingly transferred the strands with a pair of tweezers onto a ribbon, which he then slowly worked into a knot. He then pressed the tufts between two panels of framed museum glass. Quote, if the hair blows away, a piece of history that spent 150 years getting to you is lost. It's all your fault.
Whoa.
You know, a man needs a passion, and
Hey,
he's very passionate about this hair.
He's laying out the legal ramifications of what would happen. It's your fault. I have no liability.
George Washington's hair deserves to be preserved. Does it?
Deserve to be preserved.
Deserves. The hair deserves it, Gonz.
I can see deserves to be preserved as a calling cry for the cryogenic revolution.
Yeah, it's a good PR for, just freezing your head in a vat of nitrogen. You deserve to be preserved. You never imagined an air conditioner disrupting that. Condition used. Cohen is just one of the avid hobbyists who dream of plucking the hairs from heads of state. Sales happen at the antiquarian book fairs, auction houses, or online marketplaces. Prices for presidential hair samples sold through auction houses and e-commerce sites have tripled in the past decade, Resnikoff said. More than 300 collectors alone have bid online for his sets of solo presidential strands. Single threads of presidential hair attached to a baseball-style trading card can fetch between $225 and $3,000 on eBay. Seems surprisingly affordable, actually.
It's hair, though.
Yeah, but it's George Washington's hair. It deserves to be preserved.
What are you going to do with it? Unless not for dropping it into your cauldron for your some witchcrafting.
Okay, Mr. NFT over here. I got my cool Lonely Lion JPEG that it's going to be worth a fortune someday. Anywho, few sprigs of George Washington's. This is just NFTs for weird dads, Gonz.
For actual president hair?
Yeah, a few sprigs of George Washington's hair removed after his death in 1799 and set in a glass locket sold for $39,921.60 at Leland's auctions in April after 45 bids.
Wow.
Very specific number. Who's adding the extra? Was this extra 60 cents what won the auction?
Yeah,
but a clump of Abraham Lincoln's mane that surgeons shorn off the night of his assassination is believed to be the most valuable presidential mop in existence. Last year, 77 strands of Lincoln's locks attached to a telegram were sold at Boston-based RR auction for $81,000. Huh. All right.
There's a
well, it
picture
goes
of it
on
too.
and on. There's a whole saga attached here. It's mainly just
maybe.
Oh my gosh, it keeps going. This
Yeah.
thing is like 100 pages long, this article.
Yeah, there's a picture right after the whole Lincoln section of some hair. And I thought, is that Lincoln's hair? But then you read the caption there and it says, Resnikoff examines a sample of hair from the head of Ulysses S. Grant. So still
there you go.
Historical, but not Lincoln.
I don't know, Gonz. I think they're onto something here. You know, we keep talking about an exit strategy. I've got a lot of hair. I think, even at a modest hair price, this could help buy some Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think we need to cover just before we finish out here the part here of the story about how Reznikov authenticates hair samples for auction houses and law enforcement agencies by analyzing the documents that can often accompany the follicles. He compares the handwriting with known examples of their other work to determine if they share authorship. Sometimes he'll even use microscopes and a video spectral comparator to enlarge a hair sample and examine its thickness and color. Quote, any relic simply by nature requires a leap of faith, Reznikov said. Quote, the only way to be 1000% sure is DNA testing with a known relative. Yeah, I think that's part of it there, you know.
Yeah, this goes back to the sitting bull thing that we reported on last episode.
Yep. So, I don't know, man. There's a lot of DNA talk kind of underneath the whole weirdness of the collection of the hairs there.
Well, going back to the conversation about why, and going back to the sort of NFT conversation, which is, on one hand, this is just like a weird hobby, and you know, it's interesting. You know, it's something to talk about at a dinner party. I own a piece of Lincoln's hair. You're gonna at least get 45 minutes of questions out of that.
Sure.
But also, in the up and coming future of DNA editing, DNA extraction, DNA, you know, it's and talk about NFTs, the digital scarcity thing. What's more scarce than the DNA of a president who's been dead 150 years? Not much. And you know, but besides the whole like, I'm gonna clone Lincoln thing, there's something that really does resonate with NFTs, blockchain, cryptocurrency, digital scarcity, and 1 unit. I own 1 unit of the DNA code of Lincoln. And you talk about sort of the economy of the future with a worthless dollar and you know, USDC. You got central bank digital currencies, these sort of invented units of value that have no physical existence. I could see in elite circles, in some sort of strange post-apocalyptic value system where the rest of us are bartering with, you know, whatever, bottles of whiskey stored in basements and canned food, that an elite lizard person level bartering system could include strands of presidential hair, because it can't be replicated. You know, it's just it's kind of heady to think about, but very interesting.
Yeah, it all comes down to verification. And you know, we talked about the metaverse and the shift in not worldview, but more of a perspective, and what validates. What does it mean to validate something? And when it comes to rare items like hair of presidents, the only way to verify it is with DNA. So you kind of put in this. We just got to do the DNA. And I think it's interesting, the whole commoditization and tokenization of all things physical, and you know, placed a value in the digital blockchain world, whatever.
Well, and there's an interesting metaphor being told in this story as well, where he's saying, I had to videotape him moving the hair from his container to my container, because who knows, you know, he could fake it out. It could be faked really easy, versus the DNA testing, which, you know, you wouldn't need to video him transferring it. And it's kind of the same. No,
I know. But...
No. Stop. Let me finish. Let me finish. So yes, you wouldn't need to videotape it, because once it's in your hand, you could DNA test it and know if it is or isn't the right hair.
Right.
It's similar to like now, if when it comes to fiat currency, every cash dollar, I'm talking cash, is not tracked in a similar way. I mean, they have serial numbers, but you know, you're not recording the serial number of every dollar you spend. But like when it comes to big purchases like houses, like buying houses, you know, to go into escrow and things, you have to prove where your money came from. Is the provenance of your money correct. Prove it with your tax returns. Prove it with your bank statements, so we know that this money isn't drug money or, just cash from whatever stolen. There's these systems in place, like this money is clean because you showed us your tax returns. We know you have this money because you've shown the provenance. Versus with the digital money thing, Bitcoin, stuff like that, there's much less of this proving where it came from, because all the proof is held within the transaction of that Bitcoin. It's on the record.
Yeah.
That all you got to do is basically pull up the DNA of your Bitcoin, which is, transaction numbers, block numbers, things like that are embedded within the unit.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just like an interesting metaphor there. I wouldn't say it's a one for one, but it's at least allegorical. And I think that's the way, and it just shows that's the way that these rich elites are thinking about value. They're not thinking about value in the way they want us to continue thinking about it with, in the fiat system, because they're taking the time and the energy to do all of this. I don't know. It's just a shift, a paradigm shift in what constitutes value and proving value.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we've mentioned it before, but I'll finish on the point that, and I've been making it for years. If you go to the BitChute channel for Facelikethesun, there's videos from like 2017, 2018, where I was talking about the blurring of the line between physical reality and the digital space, and how we're creating, like these gateways and stuff like that. But it all becomes pretty tangible with all this stuff, and it's we get to the part that makes me concerned a little bit is just the reality of how many people are like truly into it, and the challenge being, can you actually reach those people? And because you're kind of labeled as if you're talking about the Dr. Hugo Gutierrez thing, as Terrans, basically, like, oh, you guys thinking the old way. The whole political division with all the right left, it's kind of like a softer version of how dramatic the differences will be with people that are like, oh, I'm totally into the enhancement, I'm all in, and people that are like, no, we're good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Getting too philosophical.
Paradigms shifting all over the place, man.
Yeah, time to go.
And again, it's kind of like the metaverse conversation, where it sounds like really abstract and non-concrete and things like that, but just saying, man, think of all the things over the years that we've been talking about for a decade that are no longer fringy ideas, but are just the news of the day, including the metaverse, including one world government stuff. I think when it comes to this hair and to the conception of value and cryptocurrency, I think there's something there, and it's part of a reprogramming of the value transfer system, which happens all the time. We don't think about it because it doesn't happen very fast, but even just 100, maybe 200 years ago, money was an entirely different concept than what we think of it now. So it's not unheard of to think that it would go through another shift in our lifetime.
Yeah, especially because it correlates directly to the technology that's available. And we're at a point where we're basically Tower of Babel here. Anything you imagined to do is now possible. Genesis 11. And that's so interesting to me every time I think about it, because it's, you've worked with 3D software modeling stuff, right? Like you've gone in there, tried to, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's very hard. I couldn't really pick up on it. I had to sit down and try to learn stuff. And even then I can't do it really. But I noticed how it was like, wow, this is all the elements of the world. Like you can create the floor, you can create gravity, you can create like all kinds of stuff, and there's all the parameters, you can control everything. It's pretty profound when you go through it. It kind of messes with your head, like, oh wow, the world we're living in I can see how the simulation theory develops, because you're basically everything is scalable. Everything is controllable. All aspects of how the physics works in the 3D space there when you're creating something. So the influence for what we're going to see with the metaverse and everything else, and art being the traditional vehicle for a lot of this stuff, is very much the unseen world, the spiritual world. We're painting it in the digital world, so it's kind of like putting opening the portal in the mind's eye type of thing. And I think that's why the new agey messaging is always there with Gaia and all that stuff we talked about today. And ayahuasca being a big part of, why Burning Man, why ayahuasca, why all the transformational mind shifting, take your hallucinogens to alter your brain and perception and all that kind of stuff. If it wasn't to prepare for this crazy perception shift with technology and VR, and I always forget that you're already halfway there. You're already like in the pool with your VR goggles on, sitting there with your googly eyes staring back at me in disgust.
Soon, Gonz. You cannot resist the metaverse. Come to the light, Gonzo.
We got to build the Bible verse in the metaverse.
Hey, we're working on it, folks. And if you take anything from this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, just start saving your hair, folks. It's more valuable than you think. And with that, I'm going to remind everybody that, thank you first for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. And I will remind you to tune in again on Friday. That'll be November 5th. Friday, November 5th. Be here. I'll be reading reviews. We'll be doing all sorts of fun stuff. And remember, we'll need some producers. That will be episode 406 of Canary Cry News Talk.
No, it'll be 407.
Will it?
Yep.
For some reason, my document right here says we are currently on 405. Okay, so it'll be 407. Woo! 407 on the next episode. And yes, remember, we'll need some producers. It's the only way we're able to keep this show going. So if you got any value out of this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, why don't you consider putting some value back in? We can only do it with the producership of you. So you can do that by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, head on over right now. Do it. Open your browser. Go to CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. Or even CanaryCry.Party. That's a thing. Hey, we need a jingle for CanaryCry.Party. Some punchy, some powerful, some catchy. So we can plug that in there. Thank you, everybody. But I want to thank our producers for this episode 406 of Canary Cry News Talk, and that is starting with our executive producer, Veronica D. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you, Veronica
And of course, our associate executive producer, Aaron J. Thank you, Aaron J. But of course, big ol' thanks to producers Carrie T, Brachelle, 57 Chevy Girl, Sir Samon's The Night of the Fishes, Heather Russ, Gail M, Scott Case, Sir Sigra the Beast, Laura C, Amanda R, JC Morv, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Child of God, Dr. Who Done Dat, Brant W, Runk Smash, and Ciara. Thank you guys for making this episode possible. And remember, there's all sorts of ways to produce the show. I want to thank our artists and our jingle makers and everybody who contributes their time and their talent. Oh, including our time stampers, people who continue to help the show develop in so many different ways. It's very important. And if producing the show financially is not in the cards for you, you can always produce the show by using your creativity and your time. We had another application to the Canary Cry Metaverse Research Team. Ooh. So, that's something we're putting together there. Whatever your skills are, if we get emails, a lot of people saying like, hey, I want to get involved. I feel like I need to add my skills. Hey, well, whatever your skills are, we can apply it to something. To help out the show. So go ahead and email us with whatever you want to do, or with your art or your music or your jingles or whatever. Send it all to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com if you like it easy, or CanaryCryRadio@protonmail.com. meetup.com to keep it nice and sneaky. But you can also share the show. Sharing the show is very important. It's perhaps one of the most important things you can do, and that takes many forms. Of course, you can share it on your social media, share it with your friends, your family. Just hit that little share button and pick one of the options. Because, word of mouth is really the only way this show, it's the biggest way that this show finds its way to new ears. And it's a great way to, have something to talk about with your group of people. And speaking of something to talk about, make sure to head to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. CanaryCry.Meetups.com. You can find all the meetups going on. If there's not one happening near you, put on your own. It's easy. Every meetup you see on there is somebody who didn't have a meetup near them and decided to do it themselves. And you can too. You'll find the instructions there. Just go check it out. But back to sharing. Let's see here. What did I say? You can share it, on your social media. Your friends and family, they're just itching to hear about your cool new podcast that you want to share with them. And it'll bring you closer together. That's always important. But, there's other ways to share it. You don't have to do it on social media or something like that. You can do it in other ways. For instance, take the podcast, download the podcast, buy some ingredients to bake a loaf of bread. Mix the flour, get the yeast in there. While you're letting the dough rise, go ahead and stick a pair of headphones right on top of it, or in it if they're earbuds, and play an episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Let it soak. As the yeast expands, it will soak up all that wonderful news analysis and deconstruction. Bake that bread, then you're going to serve it. You're going to put a little bow on it and send it to your favorite president, living or hopefully living. When that president eats the bread, the Canary Cry News Talk will be digested in their belly, and their body will use it to build their hair nice and strong. Yes. And then when they pass away, some sneaky little hair freak will come in and steal their hair off the president, try to sell it to a Google executive, and then through the process of authenticating this presidential hair, some DNA geneticists will be looking at the DNA, and suddenly they'll be decoding it, perhaps using artificial intelligence at that point, and they'll hear CanaryCryRadio.com/support, and suddenly there'll be a revolution of news analysis and deconstruction among the hair collecting crowd. That's just one way to do it. You don't have to do it that way. Wow. It's just a possibility, whatever the case may be. We call it rattling cages, and if you need any other instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gonz, you got any last words?
Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Psalm 37:4.
Amen. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Strangers, people who I meet on the street.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy.
We're all gonna die. I wanna shake things up, shake things up. I wanna shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I wanna stir up some controversy. I wanna rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Give me a break. Give me a break.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.
Get vaccinated.
Tip me up, man.
Make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Everybody loves waffle.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Socks and laces.
You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. In my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!